Welcome back to my channel and to another video of my ongoing series where we go through MTV's The Challenge most controversial players. The Challenge is an ongoing reality television series that started way back in 1998 and is widely beloved and famous for producing some truly iconic reality TV stars. The focus of today's deep dive is a player that is very dear to my heart and one that I'm a huge fan of. Now naturally, as the theme of my videos seems to always go, Wes didn't have the most graceful introduction to reality TV. He was in fact an asshole.
You're such a bitch. Such a bitch.
The difference with Wes is that over time he outgrew his douchey tendencies and managed to change into a better version of himself, refusing to allow fame and money to come in the way of him becoming who he always was meant to be, which is of course a fan favorite. Wes Bergmann, often known simply as Wes, was born on November 24th of 1984 in Kansas City, Missouri. And while not much is known about his upbringing and life before fame, we do get a lot of information during his appearances on both The Real World as well as The Challenge that indicate he had a very active childhood, with him often referring to his skills at soccer as well as his impressive swimming abilities that allowed him to win 3 school state competitions. These 2 skills would serve him extremely well in his upcoming career as a full-time challenge competitor. Wes's iconic moments during his 15-year career and 20 challenge-related appearances have made him one of the most recognizable players of the show, alongside CT, Jordan, and Cara Maria. His seasons are some of my favorite, and his arc throughout his long, impressive run on reality TV is a must-watch. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this extremely long and detailed video. Part 1. The Real World. Wes would start his long career on reality TV by appearing on the 16th season of The Real World Austin, which aired in 2005, a show which launched many of his co-stars' careers. Over the years, The Real World would become kind of an audition for The Challenge, where many regular everyday people would go on to be cast in the extremely competitive and dramatic MTV show The Challenge after completing their respective seasons of The Real World. Wes's debut on the scene of reality TV would happen at a very young age, after being handpicked from a pool of 100,000 applicants, with filming and airing of the show occurring while he was at the age of 19 to 20 years old, a much earlier start than the other players we have previously covered on this channel, and you really can see his age on this season reflected both in his mentality as well as his physical appearance and the way he carries himself on the show. From his frat boy party persona to his literal ball haircut and baby-faced appearance, a look that I find overall adorable, but I seem to be the only one with this opinion, as many of his roommates enjoy making fun of his looks constantly.
Wes is not attractive.
I just can't get over how young he was here, especially since this is the first time I've seen Wes's season of The Real World after seeing the mature red-bearded version of him in so many seasons of The Challenge. Wes would go on to appear on The Challenge alongside most of the cast of this season of The Real World. Johanna, for example, is someone who would play a huge part in his life both on and off cameras. Wes is instantly infatuated with this beautiful older girl, and much of his season of The Real World would revolve around him trying and failing to pursue her.
Johanna looks like one of the most beautiful, interesting, mysterious girls that I've ever seen.
Another equally significant relationship Wes would form would be with his best friend and future Challenge co-star Danny. And while Wes would go on to be one of the most recognizable players of The Challenge, Danny could definitely be considered the main star and character of this season of The Real World, with Wes playing a much smaller backseat kinda role. Episode 1 of this season really showcases the differences in reality TV shows back then when compared to now. And by that I mean the excessive drinking, public fighting, and overall uncontrolled and more realistic environment that we rarely see these days. It starts with Wes, who's barely 20 years old, and his co-stars getting extremely intoxicated and getting into a fight outside of a club that results into Danny getting punched in the face and later having to have surgery on his eye. This ordeal, which really sets the pace for this chaotic season, begins when an extremely intoxicated and incoherent Johanna gets into a fight with Nehemiah, who was instructed earlier by Johanna to not let her get too drunk. When he tries to get her to come down from the bar, Johanna basically loses uses all of her senses and handles him in a way that made me really dislike her, getting physical with him and putting him in a really sensitive position. Because how is he supposed to deal with her when she's completely drunk, shoving and yelling at him? Nehemiah rightfully chooses to remove himself from this interaction, and he heads back home. However, Wes and Danny, thinking that Nehemiah left due to an altercation with some men in the club, an idea that was kinda given to them by the extremely drunk Johanna, leave after him and end up getting into a physical fight with some random guys on the street. And this is where Danny gets punched in the face and ends up with the mother of all black eyes and a fractured ocular bone, which will eventually result into him having to undergo surgery for his injury. All of this, of course, was caught on camera and aired on national television.
I'm defending you.
No, listen. Dude, we all got in a fight in the middle of the street. We almost all got arrested.
Listen to me.
We were looking for you is why we almost got arrested. What?
Johanna got drunk as...
No, Sherlock.
Listen. Today, me and Johanna talked. She said, look, if I get too drunk like I was yesterday, talk to me. Johanna starts trying to fight me, dog.
He got blindsided. I went...
Wait, you know, my eyes closed. I stood up for you and you were back here at the house.
Much of Wes's time on the real world revolves around three things, those being drinking, getting girls, and his will they want they relationship he has with Johanna. The first two are expected from a guy his age, although I'm honestly not sure how he is able to drink as much as he is, being just barely 20 years old at the time of filming. His and Johanna's friendship/relationship is really confusing and honestly just annoying to watch. From the instant they meet, Wes expresses his attraction to her and his desire to pursue a romantic relationship with her, and while he becomes extremely fixated on her as the season goes on, Johanna on the other hand is open to explore any connections around her with anyone who isn't Wes, and for her part Johanna repeatedly and firmly friend-zones him early on.
I love her.
Really?
Mm-hmm. No, honestly, it's like more than a like. If I don't hook up with her the entire time here, I'm going to be extremely disappointed in myself.
The lack of connection between Wes and Johanna is made even clearer when she hooks up and starts dating the bartender at the club the group frequents. And while that might have been a clear sign of her disinterest in Wes to us watching at home, it does nothing to discourage Wes's attempts as he still has hopes of finally getting her to like him, and is encouraged by Johanna constantly being close to him physically and basically using him for emotional support, and even making out with him occasionally. All of this of course results into Wes's infatuation only growing stronger.
Soon enough, she will get bored with this guy, and Leo will make a mistake not knowing how to deal with her, and when that time comes, I'll be there.
Their relationship/friendship does go through a phase of extreme toxicity, as tends to happen on these shows, with Wes and Johanna getting into a very dramatic fight after tension over Johanna dating Leo starts to escalate between them, with Wes feeling like she's playing mind games with both himself and Leo. And to be fair, she definitely is. And I'm torn here because that does make sense considering she's also in her 20s and is in no way supposed to have everything figured out. And while she seems to be interested in having fun and enjoying this experience and the opportunities it presents, her mixed signals result into Wes continuing to sadly pine after her.
As small as it may be, I think there's a chance. There's a lot of time left, and I'm really smooth.
When Wes and her eventually discuss her new relationship though, they end up fighting, and Wes does talk to her in a disrespectful way.
You don't think you were leading him on?
Hey.
The kid is torn up about the fact that you play games like it's your job.
Really?
He told me tonight that you were leading him on.
He told you that I was leading him on?
Yeah.
So if I was to call him right now, he will say that I was leading him on.
I talked to him tonight.
Okay, I will call him right now. I will call him right now.
Quit being a bitch.
After their argument, things only get worse when the first time they really engage with each other after their explosive fight is when they get into another fight over Johanna's drinking habits.
I said, I don't want to talk to you when you drink hard alcohol.
Sweetie, I wasn't even talking to you in the first place.
Never mind, you.
That is your answer to everything. You and walk away.
These two fights, however, between Wes and Johanna are nothing compared to some of the drama and altercations that take place on this season of The Real World. One notable fight that I feel like I have to mention is the fight Rachel has with Nehemiah after a night full of drinking and poor choices. It starts with Nehemiah calling Rachel a slut, and with Rachel retaliating by saying she hopes he gets shot on the street someday.
You're the slut.
No, Nehemiah.
You're the slut. Let me speak.
Nehemiah. He just called me a slut. I hope to God he gets shot on the street one day.
Speaking of Nehemiah, he also finds himself in a couple of really bad situations that eventually results into the first but not last arrest of the season. During a night of partying, Nehemiah is approached and is basically attacked by some guys in the club. After they call him names, he understandably gets angry, and while Wes and Danny try to get him away from the situation, with the memory of what happened to Danny and his broken eyeball playing in their minds, they find it difficult to control the extremely angry Nehemiah. And while this night does end kinda peacefully, Nehemiah's second fight, which was not captured by the camera crew, does result into him being taken to jail for charges of battery and assault. Nehemiah spends time in jail while Danny tries to visit him and arrange his massive bail of $3,000.
No, we've been by the phone, dude. I even went to the jail by myself. What happened, dude?
Got into a fight, dude. They tried to fight me, but then they took me in.
What is your bond?
3,000.
Hold.
The second and thankfully less serious arrest for the season happens when a drunk Johanna steals a rose from a homeless man. And while this situation is more humorous, it does really shine a light on just how much drinking was taking place on this show, and how little regulation reality TV had at the time.
So you're gonna put your hands behind your back, right?
Are you serious? Taking a rose?
She tried to take the homeless guy's rose and he said to put her in jail.
In short, the formula really seemed to be as simple as, let these extremely young dumb people drink themselves into potentially life-altering situations, while the cameras capture them for entertainment. Time and time again we are treated to Wes, who I think was actually 19 at the time, being extremely drunk to the point of not being able to walk straight, and even blacking out a couple of times. One particular night where Wes's drinking seems to be at its worst results into a really nasty situation that left me feeling shocked as I watched the events of the night unfold. It starts, as it always does, with Wes being drunk, playfully throwing things around and sometimes not so playfully breaking items around the house. But when Rachel wants him to stop using the phone so she can use it, things escalate quickly when Nehemiah asks her to not talk to Wes that way.
Nehemiah!
If you stick your finger up at my friends again, I'll slap out of you, okay?
Out of Nehemiah?
Out of you.
Oh, please slap out of me. I think it'd be hilarious.
At this point, blackout drunk Wes, in response, threatens to slap Rachel if she doesn't back off. And he does playfully slap her, I guess if you can call a slap playful. But while the first slap was in a joking manner, as per Rachel, the second slap, which was not captured by the cameras, was more aggressive and leaves Rachel feeling extremely upset.
Wes, and he slapped me in the face, for real. Like, real slap? Yeah. And the second time, it wasn't enough to, jerk my head all the way to the side, but it was hard enough to make a sound. It was hard enough for me to get mad.
The following day, a sober Wes apologizes to Rachel for his behavior, and while she forgives him, this only functions to put even more stress and tension between Rachel, Wes, and Nehemiah. And it all comes to a head as the season closes with a fight that was extremely scary to watch. This fight starts due to Wes believing Rachel outed his and Ren's secret hookup, which happened off camera at her apartment. Now Ren is the girl Wes has been dating, and it's honestly not clear if Rachel or Johanna spread this secret, but either way it's Rachel that gets blamed for outing them. And when a drunk Wes confronts her about it, things quickly turn toxic, with them being nasty to each other and getting in each other's faces.
Alright, fine. In private, I Ren off camera. Now you bring it up on camera. It's not off camera anymore if you bring it up, you stupid. No, she's wrong.
No,
she
Wes,
doesn't understand. She's either stupid or she's a bitch.
And you got upset because she was crying. So obviously you don't care much about Rachel.
What is she talking about? Hey, tell me what's up.
Shut.
What she...
Things only get worse when Nehemiah gets involved, and it's not exactly clear what happens, as the cameras either didn't catch the altercation or chose to not air how the situation got so extremely messed up. Nehemiah does say that things only escalated after Rachel apparently hit or scratched him, and be that as it may, it's still extremely uncomfortable to watch Rachel basically get attacked by both Nehemiah and Wes. And to make matters worse, Wes sees no issues with his behavior and says that Rachel basically deserved what happened to her.
Put your hands on me, bitch.
Stop it!
Don't put your hands on me, bitch. I'll kill you.
Nehemiah, stop it, please! How can they say that?
I don't know how I can forgive her. I knew she made a mistake. I called her out on it, and I got her back. I made her feel bad. She deserved it.
The show's documentation didn't stop at showcasing the drinking of the season's subjects of the real world, but even took a more uncomfortable step further with them diving into areas where I personally think reality TV has no business interfering with the producers choosing to not only film Danny's reaction to the news of his mother's passing, but actually following along as he meets his family after the tragic news reaches him, and filming the funeral in a moment that I personally found to be extremely dark and too real for TV. Wes's and Johanna's romance or lack of romance does end up going nowhere. Despite their occasional sessions of making out, Wes ends the season the same way he started it, with him having major feelings for a girl who seems to have zero interest in him, beyond maybe being his friend.
She's a beautiful girl, and I am leaving the same way that I came here, and that's with a crush.
Overall, Wes's debut into reality television is really interesting to watch. Season 16 of The Real World definitely lives up to its name, with it being too real sometimes, documenting moments which were both hilarious and extremely unsettling at times. The fights were excessive as well as the drinking, and the funeral scene brought an aspect to the show that was too real for me. And when speaking about Wes specifically, well, he's a typical 19-year-old that was put into a house with a bunch of cameras that captured his immaturity, his partying ways, and maybe even his first real-life crush. A crush that would only develop into something much larger with his appearance on his next reality TV show, The Challenge. Part 2, The Challenge. Wes's first challenge appearance would be the following year of May 2006, with him joining the cast of the 12th season of the show known as Fresh Meat. In this show, he rocks a red mohawk, officially abandoning the bowl haircut and signaling his plan to bring a more grown-up personality to the show. And that's not the only thing he does bring to his first season of the challenge, as he is joined with his now girlfriend Johanna, somewhere between her evading his attempts on the real world and her getting the call to film the challenge. Johanna and Wes officially became a couple, and Wes is more in love with her than ever.
Johanna and I started dating. I've fallen in love, and we are now together.
Wes and I think, have a good relationship. He was a mess before I got my hands on him. But I think that he loves me a lot and is willing to change so many things about himself.
Wes is joined by his Austin Real World co-stars, as he has both Danny and his girlfriend from the real world joining both himself and Johanna, and honestly they don't get off to the best start, with Danny and Wes kicking the other guys from their room so the two couples can move in together in their place. This of course only magnifies the attention their four-way Austin alliance has been getting from the moment they joined the season.
Wes, Danny, and the girlfriends. They say, can we have this room? We need our space. This is not a good scene. You know, we're gonna clash heads already with these people. They're kicking us out of our damn room. They ripped the Fresh Meat sign off the wall.
During the season, Wes will be partnered up with Casey, and their matchup, similar to his entry to this whole show, doesn't get off to the best start, with Wes having little, if no faith in her abilities to compete. To be fair, Casey herself does say that she isn't the most athletic person out there, but throughout the season, Wes's treatment of her will get progressively worse, going from making jokes about her to full-on screaming and yelling in an aggressive manner when their team is tested.
No offense, but you can barely do a push-up.
Okay.
I know. You can't do anything. But we don't want to let anyone know that you're basically athletically worthless.
Casey's not very smart, which is a disadvantage. But then again, we've known about all these disadvantages ever since the first mission.
The target at Wes's back is clear from episode 1, when he finds himself at risk of being picked to go into exile, where he and his partner Casey will have to compete for their lives against a team picked by the other players.
Got 4 people from one cast. Got Wes, Johanna, some kid named Danny, and his girlfriend Melinda. They're on the cutting board, okay? I gotta go as soon as possible.
Wes naturally panics at the idea of going home so early on, so he does something which he will become known for in his future seasons. He starts politicking, and he approaches Tanya to try to add her to his already existing Austin alliance. However, when Tanya switches her votes and joins the remaining house in voting in Wes's bestie Danny, Wes gets frustrated and talks about her in his confessionals in a way that is very 2000 coded, and is very nasty to see, especially when you know the full history of Tanya's struggles on the show.
My conniving ideas behind people's backs did not work, and because of that, now I'm going up against my best friend instead of the slut Tanya, and instead of the weak team, Shane.
Going into his first elimination/exile, Wes is stressed and conflicted about competing against his best friend Danny, but thankfully both him and Casey are light packers, and considering that they would have to run a course carrying the equivalent weights of what they packed for the season, this gives them a huge advantage and they are able to fly through the course, completing it first and returning to the game to complete their season. But while Wes escapes being exiled on episode 1, he finds himself in the same position the following episode, and this time he chooses to nominate himself to save Johanna and her partner from going in, and Casey surprisingly and kindly agrees to help save his girlfriend from elimination.
I want to be as fair as possible, and I know that technically Johanna should be in there, but I couldn't possibly do that, so I would like to and ask everyone to go along with me, just send me in.
Keep in mind there's 2 to a team, so
I vote for us too. If I was in Wes's shoes, that's totally an honor.
Fueled by his love for Johanna and his pre-existent knowledge of the exile course, him and Casey managed to win their second elimination, returning once again to a house full of people that want to eliminate them from the game. And his arrogance about winning 2 exiles back to back, no matter how deserved, does rub people the wrong way, making the other guys competing on the season want to target him and Casey even more.
I'm just too good, and I don't want to be cocky.
Wes is undeniably a little cocky. It's probably one of the things that will put him in the exile for the rest of his life. As far as I'm concerned, Wes can go in every time if he wants to.
When Evan and Coral win their third back-to-back daily mission, Wes can see the writing on the wall, and seeing how they were responsible for sending him into exile twice now, he knows he's going in for his third and possibly last elimination. He does try to talk to them and make a deal to keep both himself and Johanna safe, but that would require Coral and Evan to vote in their friends instead, and they are just not willing to do that.
Wes is asking Evan and I to protect his girlfriend, keep him out of exile, and send one of our friends into exile. And he can't have all 3.
This leaves Wes feeling extremely frustrated and desperate, and he takes out his anger on Johanna, accusing her of not fighting hard enough for her place in the game. He knows he will be voted in against her, and she knows that as well. And to be honest, I do see her point of view. There's nothing she can say or do to change their minds at this point.
So are you gonna go in there and just let him vote you in?
I'm just gonna let.
Yes, that's exactly what you.
There's nothing I can say to them.
Okay, stupid that you don't understand. No one in there is going to vote Tina in. Are you stupid? Those are all her friends. Why would they listen to me? They're not.
So you're just gonna sit there and let it happen?
Then what do you want me to do?
I already.
Dumbass, don't yell at me!
Oh my God! Shut up.
Wes doesn't just pick a fight with his girlfriend. He goes into a whole rant of how he's coming for every single guy that votes him into exile, which of course does nothing to stop his upcoming fate, and only leaves his position in the game in a worse place, with everyone now hating him even more.
I swear to God, if I'm going up against my girlfriend who did not get last place, I'm gonna be really pissed off. Because I'm coming back and I'll just keep beating all you guys no matter what the happens. Put in what's fair, or else I'm gonna send all you guys home next.
Wes does apologize to Johanna before they both head to exile, and considering this is Wes and Casey's third back-to-back trip there, they have pretty good odds of winning again. However, as it turns out, Johanna and Jesse are not an easy team to beat, especially with Wes and Casey forgetting one of their flags at the previous station, forcing them to go back and giving the other team the lead early on. This really frustrates Wes, and he loses his temper with his partner, calling her stupid amongst other unkind names, and just overall painting a really bad picture of how he views women in general.
Danny, you stupid bitch! Get the up!
Ultimately, Wes and Casey are able to recover and complete their third exile in first place, which leaves Wes feeling happy about his third consecutive win, but sad about losing his girlfriend and his last ally in the game. Moreover, both Casey and Johanna are upset with him for his choice of words towards his partner and the way he acted when they were both under pressure. And this really makes me like Johanna. Her standing up for Casey is really sweet to see, and after Wes gets yelled at by Casey deservedly, he does end up making what seems to be a genuine apology to her.
Do you want someone to talk to your daughter like that when you have one? Do you want someone to talk to your mom like that? Do you know how disrespect you? When I was running, I was disgusted.
You know what? I didn't want it that bad. I don't want to be stuck here with you for another 3 3 weeks bitching and complaining all the time, knowing every single exile, we're going right back in.
Wes returns to the house feeling more alone than ever, having sent both his girlfriend and his best friend home, leaving him with zero allies in the game. To make matters worse, he now has the reputation of being unbeatable in eliminations, only adding to the huge target he has on his back.
I feel alone now because that's what I am.
Despite doing really well on the next daily, which seems tailor-made for Wes, allowing him to use all those muscles he has, he is sadly let down by Casey, who struggles and falls, disqualifying both of them from the mission and basically dooming them to their 4th trip to exile. This time they are facing off against Tanya and Johnny, and they have the clear advantage, with Tanya basically packing her entire house for this season, leaving her and Johnny basically unable to move with all the weight attached to them. Wes and Casey secure their 4th win, which is so unbelievably impressive for Wes's first season of the show, and from now on things will finally take a more positive spin for them. Not only do Wes and Casey avoid being sent down for exile, with Shane and Annette, the winners of the daily challenge, choosing not to nominate them, going instead for the worst performing team, but they also avoid being nominated by the house as well, making this an extremely rare week for them where they can sit back and relax. Moreover, in an even better news, both Coral and Evan get disqualified from the season after Coral hurts her knee and Evan develops a sports hernia that prevents him from competing, meaning that the team that has been largely responsible for sending Wes and Casey into exile 4 times has now exited the game. Their break from exile is short-lived, however, with them going into their 5th elimination of the season against Annette and her partner Shane. And while Casey does struggle with this run, Wes surprisingly is supportive, allowing her to work at her pace and resulting in them winning their 5th elimination of the season. After an exhausting season where Wes and Casey really had to fight each week for their place in the game, they finally make it to Wes's first final. And to make it to a final on your first season is quite the achievement, especially considering he had 5 chances of being eliminated and came back each single time. Wes goes into this having little if no faith in his partner, and while he did make some effort to improve the way he speaks to her face, he has maintained the same negative, nasty attitude he has towards her behind her back in his confessionals.
I just hope that Casey's not going to hold me back too much. She's too young, immature, and stupid to understand how much is really on the line right now.
They start off the final tied together, and while the other teams seem to work together to establish the pace for their team, Wes is out here quite literally dragging his partner around. This results into them falling in 3rd place, aka last place, and while they manage to finish their puzzle in 2nd place, which is definitely progress for them, sadly at the next few obstacles they fall back in 3rd place, and that's ultimately how they finish off the season, with them coming in 3rd place and getting $10,000 each for their effort. And admittedly, anticlimactic end to it has been a great season for them. Well, maybe not for them while they were in it, but it was impressive watching Wes and Casey overcome so much to reach the final. And seeing Wes be disappointed and Casey crying because she feels like she let her partner down is really disheartening.
We're 3rd place, which is really not that impressive. And anyone who says congratulations for bronze can like.
I just feel really, really bad because I feel like I really, really let Wes down. I wish that I could have done better.
At the reunion, Wes does recognize that the way he spoke to Casey was inappropriate, and for her part, Casey seems to still have a good friendship with him, which is always good to see, and Johanna continues to call him out for his behavior, keeping him in check, which is also really nice to see.
A lot of things that came out of my mouth were inappropriate, and
Yeah, but you know what? I hate to come to Wes's defense, believe me, I hate it. I mean, I needed to step it up, and without Wes there, I know if I had any other partner, would have been gone like that.
I was shocked. I always viewed Casey as a good partner, and she did everything Wes told her. And not only she did everything that Wes told her, but also when he wanted to volunteer himself, and for me, she went right along with him.
Overall, the season went really well for Wes. His personality at this age is so different from the persona he would later develop, which of course makes sense considering how young he is here. The arrogance and politicking, however, will be traits that will stick with him and allow him to be one of the best players of this game, both strategically and physically. The season also sets up the groundwork for his rivalry with Evan, which is only natural considering Evan spent the entire season sending him into exile. Their feud would only get more interesting and complicated with Wes's future appearances on the show. Wes's second appearance on the challenge would be in 2007, with him being cast to appear on season 13 of the show known as The Duel. And while Wes this season loses his signature red mohawk, he and Johanna are still very much together, and he has plans to win the final prize money in order to secure their future together, with him even planning to propose to her.
I'm trying to win this money for us and to start a life together, get married, and have little Wes's running around.
His plans of securing the final cash prize doesn't get off to the best start, with him losing the first daily challenge, but he does manage to fly under the radar and is not picked for elimination, which is already a huge change from his first season where he was constantly under fire since the moment he stepped into the game. Wes mostly avoids attention from the other players this season, but he doesn't escape the eyes of the other big guys in the house, with Kenny and Evan seeing him as one of the most physically intimidating guy, and with them recognizing the advantage that comes with him being an excellent swimmer.
On the hit list is definitely Wes. He's good in the water.
Moreover, Evan has bad blood with Wes already from the previous season, where he spent his entire time in the game sending Wes into exile. Wes knows he is the main target for the bigger guys, who are now working and forming an alliance with the most popular girls in the house, meaning that Wes can see the writing on the wall and knows that he is probably in for a repeat of what happened to him on Fresh Meat. However, Wes is way nicer and more politically savvy this season, and instead of panicking and threatening everyone, a move which last time only made the target on his back bigger, this time he chooses to approach the quote-unquote outcast of the game to form their own alliance that counteracts the alliance led by Kenny, Evan, and the popular girls.
There's a lot of you girls that you guys.
The four of us could take those bitches on.
It'd be so money if we could somehow organize one guy.
Yeah, imagine if it was us four at the end.
We realize that we need to be together as a team. We are just mirroring what you are doing to us.
His plan works really well, and when Svetlana wins the next daily, she is able to save Wes, Nehemiah, Beth, and Anissa from elimination, effectively forcing the other alliance to vote one of their own members out.
Svetlana's vote for Wes basically sparks off the alliance that the four of them have, and it just makes me sick.
I absolutely love this move by Wes. His idea of getting everyone who is left out together is genius and makes so much sense, especially the girls, with Beth and Anissa clearly being left out of the quote-unquote popular girl alliance. More impressively, he even manages to keep a playful working relationship with the people who clearly want him out, demonstrating how much progress Wes has made this season, with him being way more level-headed and strategic, which clearly works in his advantage.
It's not just a bunch of competitions every day, it's a game of social interactions. My muscles can only take me so far.
His strategic gameplay does allow him to carry on the next few episodes without being nominated. However, as the season continues, Wes actually ends up losing his alliance members one by one, with him first losing Nehemiah, then Beth, resulting into him once again being in a vulnerable position.
This has been a bad 2 days for whatever little alliance I have. I lost Nehemiah and I lost Beth, and so this game is only going to get harder, and my back is getting slowly but surely pushed up against the wall.
This actually really stresses him out and takes a toll on him emotionally, as he can clearly see himself being sent into the next elimination, so he chooses to take the challenge head on and nominates himself for elimination, knowing that at least this way he is able to choose who he faces off against. Wes picks Derek's, with his logic being obviously based on the size difference between the two men, with Wes clearly having the weight advantage. However, Derek is not an easy opponent to beat, and after a grueling 18-minute fight that drains both players, Wes is finally able to pry the pole from Derek's hands, sending him home, and allowing Wes to survive his first elimination of the season. Derek's determination and strength is not lost on Wes, who has enough self-awareness to recognize how close he came to actually losing to Derek.
Buddy, good luck.
You have no idea how much I respect you right now.
Wes being so close to losing really stresses him out, and that grueling elimination against Derek makes matters worse, leaving Wes feeling both emotionally and physically drained. Not only is he feeling guilty for Derek's exit, but he's also experiencing a lot of anxiety and fear about being nominated again. And honestly, this season has massive guys with CT, Big Easy, and Evan all competing for the win, so I don't exactly blame him here.
I'm not proud of myself, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't even feel like I deserve to be here right now. Excitement in the guilt and everything just starts flooding in, and it scares me. I don't want to do it again if I have to. I don't even want to know what the outcome is going to be, because, I mean, this just took so much out of me.
Wes wastes no time in recovering and getting back to strategizing a way to keep himself safe, and his uneasy relationship with Evan allows him to do just that, with him and Evan coming up with a plan to work together to get CT, who's arguably one of the best and strongest players left, out of the game. The guys come up with a plan to get Big Easy to go in against CT, and while this plan ultimately fails, because no one in their right mind would volunteer to go in against CT, Wes quickly pivots and encourages Evan, who is convinced he is the right person to send CT home, to do just that.
Wes and I set aside our differences and said we would try and look out for each other. CT is the only thing standing in my way of $150,000. Well, what do you think? What are you going to call it if you realize that?
Brad, I'm thinking you'd be better to do CT.
People all of a sudden think he's God's gift to the challenge. I'm going there, beat him, and say, okay, now what?
The plan is executed to perfection when Wes and his partner Svetlana win the hardest daily challenge yet, with every other single team getting disqualified. Wes uses this power to follow the plan that Evan has already agreed to and helped come up with, as Evan gets sent into elimination by Wes, and after enough encouragement, ego stroking, and even possible gaslighting from Wes, Evan is persuaded to choose CT as his opponent. Wes's impressive first win comes at a pivotal point in the game and really places him in a great spot. With the final being just around the corner, he is set to lose either CT or Evan, both great competitors that could possibly keep him from winning. Evan does have a moment of sobriety when he recognizes the mess he put himself in, and instead of accepting the consequences of his own actions, he chooses to blame Wes for masterminding this whole thing against him, which is objectively not true. Wes might have stroked Evan's huge ego, but he did not force him to go into an elimination against CT.
The plan to happen exactly the way it happened today. You agreed to that. It happened. What the is the problem?
Evan faces off against CT and loses, officially exiting the game with his feelings towards Wes only getting more sour. He holds Wes personally responsible for his failures, and their tense relationship will only continue to worsen in the upcoming seasons, making Evan one of Wes's biggest enemies in the game.
Wes, you screwed me over, you know you did, and I'll never forgive you for it.
Wes wins his second daily challenge the following episode, officially making his place in his second final since his debut on the show, which is really impressive. Doing 2 seasons and managing to reach the final both times is extremely rare on the challenge, and is a testament to how quickly he was able to adapt and learn on these 2 seasons, with him losing the sour attitude and focusing more on making alliances, even managing to lure Evan of all people into one, and while still maintaining his regular strong physical performance as well. Wes does have one more fight, however, before he runs the final, and he has it with CT, after CT gets disqualified from an elimination for ripping a flag instead of untangling it. The extremely upset CT doesn't take too kindly to Wes calling him out, and the two quickly start going at each other, with them both getting pretty personal in their attacks, with Wes attacking CT's relationship with DM, while CT taking shots at Wes and his fiancée Johanna. But on the plus side, CT, who's a huge threat, is officially out of the game.
It's enough! No, it's not even enough. What are you gonna do? What? You're a little punk. No, deep shots! Grow up! Shut the up! You know you're going home! Shut the
Wes starts this final in a great way, using his soccer skills to gain a 2-minute head start on Brad. And while he does struggle with completing his puzzle, he is able to maintain and carry that lead all the way to the end stage of the final, officially winning his first final and walking away with an impressive prize of $150,000.
Every emotion is just flooding through me right now. I just won $150,000.
At the reunion show, Wes shares an update about his and Johanna's relationship, with them still going strong.
Once we bought a house together.
Nice!
We bought a bar together in Los Angeles, and I can't wait to officially do the deed. But I love her. I've gotten so much out of this whole experience, and That 150K looks like nothing compared to hers.
Wes and Johanna's shared finances will cause some drama down the line, but for now, Wes is completely and utterly smitten with his fiancée. And to make things even better, he does get Evan to acknowledge on national television that he orchestrated his own downfall, which was nice to see, not that it does anything to prevent those two men from continuing to hate each other.
We did have an agreement that, like... That what? That if I was last, I was going to call out CT.
You volunteered.
Fair enough. But the reason that I was...
After winning the duel, Wes would take a long break from the show to focus on growing both his business and personal life. He would eventually return in 2009 after a nearly 3 years break to film season 18 of the show known as The Ruins. And this season promises a lot of drama for Wes, who has now broken up with his fiancée Johanna and is now dating Kellyanne, who happens to be competing with him on the season but on opposite teams, with Wes being part of the champs while she is on the challengers team.
I saw the opportunity to be with two of the most important girls that have ever been in my life. To be there with someone that I would consider a hated enemy, to me was just too hard to pass up.
To add to the awkwardness of having to live in a house with your ex-fiancé, Johanna, post their breakup, went on to film The Island and did in fact end up having a showmance with Kenny on national television. And while this happened after her and Wes broke up, apparently it left Wes feeling really hurt, especially since she promised she wouldn't hook up with anyone while filming.
The fact that she was willing to risk all that for a random hookup with someone like Kenny, of all people, was extremely hurtful.
This season starts off with a lot of tension between Wes and the three-way alliance of Kenny, Evan, and Johnny, also known to the fans of the show as the JEK Alliance. Those three are tight and are friends outside and inside of the game, and Wes has been having problems with Evan for years, and he is now actively feuding with Kenny over the whole Johanna situation, making this an already extremely bad start for Wes. There is absolutely no love lost between these guys, and while Wes manages for the most part to keep some sort of a friendship with Johanna, he and Kenny on the other hand can't stand each other.
The Kenny, Evan, and Johnny situation is a little scary to me. They come in here with numbers, and no matter how much muscle or brain you have, numbers is very important.
I don't care if the kid lives or dies. You want to come in here acting like the big bad wolf, you better man up. I'll kick every freckle off your face, you ugly little bastard.
No one on our team likes Wes. He acts like a punk, he talks like a punk.
Wes doesn't do himself any favors by isolating both himself and Kellyanne downstairs in their own makeshift room. Now, it does make sense to me that Wes understandably doesn't want to hang out or share space with a bunch of people who hate him, but I also recognize that isolating himself completely from his own teammates is just a really bad idea. The tension in the house reaches its peak before the first daily challenge even takes place, with Wes suggesting that the nominations for eliminations take place randomly by drawing names out of a hat, obviously trying to save himself as he knows damn well he is probably first on the chopping block. This suggestion falls on deaf ears, and everyone somehow ends up hating him even more, really making me feel bad for him at this point. It's so obvious he's in for another horrible season.
I think the fairest way to pick the guy that goes in is with drawing a name out of a hat.
The reason I have a problem with that is because out of every guy on our team, there's been some sort of unity with the exception of you, dude.
I don't want to volunteer.
When negotiating for his faith doesn't get him anywhere, Wes switches gears and tries to give his team an ultimatum. Either agree to his plan or he's throwing the first daily challenge for them.
I'm going to throw the challenge, and it looks really easy to throw the challenge.
Why don't you come in, kick some ass, prove to us that you're a good guy and a good team player, and let's keep on going.
You guys think that you're going to convince me of otherwise. I'm throwing the mission, I'm drawing a name out of a hat, so stop doing that.
Obviously, threatening his team doesn't help his situation at all, and he digs the hole even deeper for himself, with him literally being seen left out while his entire team try to come up with a plan that prevents him from ruining their game. Wes is true to his word, and he does try to sabotage his teammates. He manages to get one of the goals off of the rope, but the rest of his team is solid, and despite his efforts, his team actually wins, meaning Wes only succeeded in alienating the few people he had close to him. The consequence consequences for Wes's actions come hard and fast, with everyone on his team being mad at him, including Johanna. Darrell specifically takes out his anger on both Wes and Kellyanne, calling her a bunch of names and pointing out her dating history in the house. This of course gets Wes really riled up, and him and Darrell get into a heated argument that comes really close to turning into a physical one and getting one, if not both of them, disqualified from the game.
You gotta everybody in the house.
Bro, like, any thing is, like, I'm obviously.
You need to shut up, bitch. What am I gonna do to you? I can't.
Why would you call her a bitch, dude?
Hey, she looks like you. Because she looked like you.
Back up now, Darrell. I will do something. I'm going to do something.
Wes predictably is going into the first elimination of the season, and he tries to nominate himself thinking that his team will allow him to choose his opponent, but because of his previous actions, his team doesn't afford him that grace, and instead they collectively choose to send in Wes against Chet, someone who Kenny, Evan, and Johnny think has the best chances of sending Wes home. At the elimination, Wes performs really well, getting the lead and maintaining it, winning his first elimination of the season, and with that he keeps his streak of never losing an elimination going. And while I personally think this one is incredibly impressive, the remaining players disagree, and Wes goes back to a house that absolutely despises him and is eager to send him right back where he came from. Wes and Johanna have multiple conversations throughout the season, and while they start off being on semi-good terms, with them at least trying to work through their issues and listen to each other's grievances, things escalate as Wes's isolation from the rest of the house continues, and he keeps threatening to sabotage his team, going as far as saying he is willing to throw the final if he makes it to it. Johanna fires back with an equally unhinged argument that if Wes sabotages the team in the final, she is going to sell their house from under him, something which is very possible because Wes was so in love with her and she had a better credit score, so allegedly he put her name on the deed of his house.
If you throw the final mission, I will sell the house and keep it all because nothing is under your name.
Johanna's name is on the deed to my house. She comes up to me like the great person she is and threatens to sell my house. Once again, just proof that she has no concept of fair.
Things reach their absolute peak of misery for Wes when Johnny Bananas comes up with a plan to get both teams to work together so they can set up Wes's girlfriend Kellyanne against her best friend in the house and Wes's closest ally Evelyn in elimination. Knowing whichever one of the girls exits the game, Wes would be down one more ally. And at this point, it's clear that Wes is public enemy number one.
The team, that's what the girls have voted for, and for the guys, we're going to back them on that.
Evelyn is just as blindsided as I am. Both teams have staged a coup, and Kellyanne and Evelyn are about to get.
This plan, which is set up by Johnny, Kenny, and Evan, really blindsides and upsets both Evelyn and Wes, and results into a huge fight that has Evelyn and Wes continually getting into Johnny's face, screaming, breaking things around the house, and at one point the fighting gets so extreme that Johnny physically pushes Evelyn away.
God, you're such a bitch. Such a bitch. Oh my God. What a little bitch. I can't wait to beat the out of you.
Let him go, Johnny.
During the elimination, Wes would lose Evelyn, but Kellyanne remains in the game. But that doesn't really impact his game too much, as the trio of Kenny, Evan, and Johnny continue to send him into eliminations, with him going into his second elimination of the season against Nick. Wes wins his elimination easily and continues to prove that he is a huge physical threat in the game, despite him and Kellyanne surviving the next 2 episodes, with Wes even trying to be a team player and work with his team instead of against them. He does find himself right back in the firing line of the JEK alliance when he calls out the nasty behavior those 3 guys have been having towards the obviously struggling Tanya. Tanya's journey on the challenge is extremely sad and complicated, and it has the most tragic outcome of all of the videos I've done so far on this channel. So I was really liking the fact that Wes was willing to address the bullying she experienced when everyone else seemed fine to just sit back and watch her struggle season after season.
Had our fun with Tanya.
Not me. I've never done one thing to Evan, Kenny, and Johnny from moment 1 minute one, have been nothing but insulting and mean to Tanya. As soon as Tanya leaves, they want to be the good person and say, hey, she has all these problems and we should be nice to her. And it's so hypocritical.
Episode 5 shows a defeated Wes that knows he is going in for his third elimination of the season. And this time his team does allow him to pick who he faces off against. And Wes makes the choice of going in against Kahata, who is a smaller guy and who Wes believes to be the weakest one of the remaining guy competitors. Sadly, however, Wes would experience his first elimination loss of his career, with him losing the elimination and exiting the game, finally ending this extremely awkward and miserable season for him. Naturally, no one is happier to see him go than the JEK Alliance.
The big mouth idiot who thought he had the world by the balls.
Overall, this season is a pivotal one for Wes's journey on the challenge. He solidifies his animosity with Evan and develops new hatred with both Johnny and Kenny. And while both Kenny and Evan will eventually be kicked off of the show in the coming seasons after Tanya's lawsuit, Wes and Johnny Banana's mutual dislike for each other would survive the years and would be responsible for some of the best reality TV moments out there. Truly, this is the season where Wes versus Johnny Bananas really began. Wes would appear on the next season of the challenge, filmed the following year, with his participation on season 19 known as Fresh Meat 2. Wes continues the theme of him being partnered up with blondes, with him picking Mandy as his teammate.
I'll take the blonde.
Mandy didn't have the best stats at the preseason boot camp, but Wes has faith that they can go the distance together. Moreover, Wes is trying this season to approach his time in the house differently, with him recognizing that he needs to make strong alliances and not fight with every single person in the house, which is definitely a new strategy for him, considering how he is usually the most disliked person in the game.
What I'm going to do differently is form alliances, pretend I want to be friends with some of these people, when really I'm only looking after myself.
Wes is a man of his word, and he does start off the season by forming an alliance, surprisingly with Kenny.
He thinks he could use me, and I could use him.
Now neither him or Kenny trust each other, but Wes starts off strong, pitching Kenny their mutual need to get rid of Cara and Darrell, two strong players who threaten both of their positions in the game, and Kenny agrees. With this in mind, they are able to solidify their uneasy alliance with their first successful elimination of Cara, Maria, and Darrell. Despite being able to work together so early on, tension does rise when they continue to have problems arising from the fact that they seem to like the same goals in the game. This time it's Teresa, who seems to be really attracted to Kenny, but he doesn't reciprocate the attraction, going as far as insulting her in his confessionals, which is really classy and predictable behavior from Kenny.
Mr. Beautiful comes to win, not to fraternize with slutty girls.
Eventually, Wes and Teresa do hang out more, and their connection grows as the season progresses. This might be the most strategically safe season for Wes so far. In his previous seasons, he has always been on the opposite side of the numbers, meaning that he has always had to fight for his place in the game. But this season, Wes is not only working with Kenny, but he also has some of his closest friends competing with him, with Danny and Evelyn fully having his back.
This is the first time that I felt this confident about my game and my strategy.
Episode 2 starts off with Kenny and Wes trying to pick the next team to send into elimination, but things get complicated when you consider that while both of these men are technically working together, they still have their own separate core alliances, which essentially divides the house into two sides, Wes's side versus Kenny's. Kenny wants to eliminate CJ and his teammate, but Evelyn and Wes both recognize that if they get rid of CJ's team who's working with them, they would be losing a number in their alliance, putting them at risk of being picked out one by Kenny's side of the house.
We need to cut down the numbers at this point.
Don't unload CJ. That's a free vote for us.
So they come up with the genius plan of approaching Landon and his teammate, who happen to be the winners of the daily challenge. And Landon, who famously plays this game individually, staying out of alliances, agrees to work with Wes and Evelyn, meaning they now have enough votes to flip this entire game against Kenny, and Wes wastes no time in trying to take Kenny out before Kenny can turn on him. recognizing that the working relationship he has with him is temporary at best, as both guys clearly have zero trust in each other.
I'm not saying that it's not the smart decision. I'm not saying it's not a smart decision, but this is technically the shadiest thing I've ever done. I mean,
You don't own that guy.
Words of Wes scheming and plan get back to Kenny, who is understandably upset about being sent into elimination, and him and Wes have a conversation where they basically call off their brief working relationship and are now officially back to being enemies.
Trying to tell me that you're getting mad about me throwing you up against a friend? What? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's me and you.
Wes and Evelyn send in Kenny and Laurel against Sarah and Vinny, who are Kenny's closest allies in the game. And while Wes and Evelyn are disappointed when Kenny and Laurel win their elimination round and return to the game, they are happy about taking more numbers and votes away from Kenny and his alliance. Kenny and Laurel win the following daily challenge, giving them the power to choose which team is going in for elimination. And Kenny doesn't waste this chance to nominate Evelyn and her partner, but Wes counteracts this attack by convincing the house to vote in Paula and her teammates. And Kenny ultimately loses another one of his friends, with now both Sarah and Paula being out of the game. This of course leaves Wes, Evelyn, and their alliance members in an amazing spot, with them effectively controlling how the rest of the season plays.
Basically, for the first time in 6 seasons, I feel powerless.
Wes's great position in the game does have a pretty close call early on, despite him and Evelyn basically controlling 10 votes against Kenny's 4. His position is compromised when an extremely drunk Danny picks a fight with Brandon over potatoes. This ridiculous fight starts off pretty funny, to be honest, but it quickly escalates into Danny being uncontrollable, as he fights with Sandy, throws a piece of cheese at Wes, and completely loses control with Brandon, with both of them being violent towards each other. As a result of the chaos happening, Wes gets knocked into the stovetop and hits his head pretty hard, and while he quickly recovers physically, he is worried that Danny's uncontrollable drunk behavior would cost him his number, seeing how both Danny and Brandon are in his alliance. At one point, Wes can be seen physically straddling Brandon to try to stop the infighting.
All I know is I've got to get this fool off of this other fool so I don't lose my fool vote.
And after Wes is done babysitting both of these grown men, they do end up working through their issues and hug it out, restoring peace within the alliance and allowing both Evelyn and Wes to keep the majority votes in the game. Kenny and Laurel impressively win their third daily challenge of the season, once again escaping the elimination that Wes and Evelyn are planning for them. Moreover, they have the power to send in one of Wes's alliance members into elimination, and they choose to send in Brandon and the injured Caitlin, who end up exiting the game. This really doesn't affect Wes's alliance much, since he still has by far the majority of the votes. The following daily challenge, however, is where Wes's game starts to crack, and it starts with another impressive win by Kenny and Laurel, who choose to smartly take a shot at Wes's closest friend in the house as they send in Danny and Sandy, putting Wes in a difficult position as he is basically in charge of who the house votes in against them. Danny begs Wes for Teresa and Ryan as he sees them as the weakest team and believes he has a good chance of winning against them in exile. However, Wes chooses to go against his friend's wishes and influences the house to vote in Jillian and Pete instead, who are Kenny's last remaining alliance members.
Danny is one of my best friends. I love him to death, but the second you start being emotional is the second you start being a really big target.
Danny and Sandy lose their elimination round, and this vote really exposes Wes for his cutthroat gameplay and basically paints him as a snake. Worst of all, this move actually gets CJ and Landon to doubt their position on Wes's list of alliances, as they both rightfully wonder that if he was okay doing that to his actual best friend, what the hell does he have planned for them? This episode is where trouble really starts for this so far dominating alliance, and things are made worse when Jill and Pete, who are Kenny's only remaining support system, win the following daily challenge, meaning that Wes's alliance is once again at risk of losing one of their members. But Evelyn and Wes refuse to let themselves get voted into exile, and they are completely fine with throwing Landon and CJ under the bus in order to save themselves from possible elimination. Wes and Evelyn want CJ and his partner to go in against Landon and his partner, despite both of these teams being loyal to Wes and Evelyn this entire season.
So why not do Landon versus CJ? That's what we have to resort to.
The best case scenario, say you could make everyone do that.
They blindside Landon and go as far as approaching Kenny to make sure he gets Pete and Jill to vote in Landon and Carly for exile, while they, alongside the remaining members of their alliance, as well as Kenny and Laurel, vote in CJ and his partner Sydney, effectively blindsiding both teams in a self-serving and objectively speaking cruel move. This move, which is completely selfish, does show the impressive politicking skills of both Wes and Evelyn, as they manage to save themselves once again from elimination by controlling the entire house and sacrificing their friends in the process. Landon and Carly win the exile, sending CJ and Sydney home, and Landon at this point completely loses faith in Wes and Evelyn, and is happy to work with Kenny and Laurel to take one or both of them out, which is amazing news to Kenny, who just last week was completely isolated and was fighting for his life at each daily challenge. Now he has both Pete and Jill as well as Landon and Carly voting with him, which significantly improves his chances of survival. Episode 7 brings about the downfall of both Wes and Evelyn, with Landon and his partner winning the daily mission, and honestly at this point it doesn't even matter who wins the daily, with the whole entire house basically being united and voting in Evelyn and Wes against each other, and that's exactly what happens. To their credit, or rather their audacity, they try to talk their way out of this by approaching Landon, but it's too little too late considering how readily they sacrificed him last week.
The people who scumbagged everyone over are now going against each other. This two-headed monster that we call Evelyn and Wes, one of them is not coming back.
Evelyn and Luke have the clear advantage with them seeing and winning in exile before, while Wes has avoided it like it's the plague. And his lack of exile experience really shows, with Evelyn and Luke quickly getting a head start that they managed to keep all throughout the elimination, with Wes really struggling to keep up. Wes's performance on this exile is kinda ironic, with him not being able to keep up with his partner Mandy, considering how frustrated he was with Casey when she was in the exact same position as he is now on Fresh Meat 1.
Let's go, Wes! Don't you dare stop! I'm not even tired. I'm not even out of breath.
Wes and Mandy lose the elimination, with Wes exiting the game after playing an honestly good game, at least for the first half of the season. At the reunion show, the animosity between Wes and Kenny continues, with them both taking cheap shots at each other, and at this point it's obvious that they generally have some deep hatred for each other, and this goes way beyond the show.
I've got a handful of legitimate things that he has done to me in my past that has been just not like a man. And it has nothing to do with
Not like a man. You weasel piece of shit. I'll beat your ass right here. How's that? You throw the first punch and I'll let you throw the first 5. And then after that, be prepared for me to kick your
Wes and Danny's relationship, on the other hand, remains somewhat friendly, with Danny still being extremely hurt at how Wes treated him, especially after he went home and watched the show back. But he still seems to at least want to continue their friendship outside of the show.
Wes is always, I consider him like my brother. I would jump in front of a bus for Wes, and I still would. And so for me, it's a little tough to take when he comes down and tells me one thing, and then I have to wait 6 months to see on TV that he actually orchestrated the whole deal. He's one of my best friends, but best friends don't do that, bro.
Overall, what a great season to watch. It was disappointing to see Wes over-politic his own downfall. He had the numbers from the beginning, and his refusal to go to exile even once really is what ended up sending him home. Well, that and him turning on his friends one by one. This season is where Wes really became known for cutting shady deals, scheming, and backstabbing behavior. This reputation of being snaky and kinda untrustworthy would follow him in his future appearances on the challenge. In actuality, Wes would never be able to shake his whole questionable politicking reputation from this point on, and honestly, after seeing how he treated his alliances and friends this season, it's not hard to understand why that happened. Rivals, which was filmed in 2011, would mark Wes's 5th appearance on his long career on the challenge. And as the name suggests, this season would have Wes partnered up with someone who he has bad history with. And in Wes's case, that could be any of the dozen of people that dislike him. But arguably, no one has more of a problem with him than Kenny, and that's probably why the producers picked the two men to compete with each other.
Wes's weakness is his ugly face.
He is literally one of the dumbest people I've met.
No one likes an ugly person.
Putting aside their extremely dysfunctional relationship, which we saw unfold last season, their team-up actually puts both of them at a great advantage, especially physically, with them both being big and strong and with a proven history of reaching finals. Now granted, they don't get off to the best start of the season, with them getting disqualified from the first daily challenge, but luckily it was a girls' week, so they both remain safe for the week. Predictably, Wes and Kenny don't agree on much, but they do agree on CT being their biggest competition, and Wes is already starting to plan to take him out.
As much as I want to sit around and brag about how much my body looks like a Greek god, which it does, I really have to admit the guy's bigger and maybe stronger than.
Surprisingly, Wes even bonds with Kenny's bestie, Johnny Bananas, over their shared desire to eliminate CT from the game. But their plans are quickly put on hold when Wes and Kenny get disqualified yet again from the second daily challenge, putting them at risk of going home so early in the season. To make matters worse for them, CT and Adam end up winning the next daily, and as a result, Wes and Kenny find themselves going into their first elimination against Tyree and Davis. The elimination is a wrestling-based one, putting Kenny and Wes at an advantage, and with the help of some meditation led by Nehemiah and their combined massive weight, they managed to win their first elimination despite Tyree putting a really good fight. Wes wastes no time getting back to his eliminate CT plan, and this time he tries approaching the topic differently, telling the terrifying CT that he will nominate him each chance he gets. Now, understandably, CT doesn't take too kindly to Wes threatening him.
I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to get you out of here.
You wanna send me home early? Take money out of my pocket? Take bread off my family's table?
I would like that.
And what makes the situation escalate even more is that Wes decides to pull a really unnecessary move of throwing CT's mattress from their shared room into the pool. This unleashes the rage that CT is known for, and what proceeds to happen did have me laughing out loud, while being honestly kinda scared for Wes's safety, as CT goes on to literally yell at Wes's face for 2 hours straight.
What? Who's scared of you now? You know I'm better than you. Do I sound scared now? Who's scared now? Say it!
Just disappear.
You disappear.
I really regret being in this situation. I just really want this all to end.
Wes continues to target CT, going as far as him having an issue with Mandy flirting with him, which is honestly none of his business. But what's even more bizarre and fascinating to see is watching Wes work so closely with the JEK Alliance in order to get CT out. Considering how much bad blood he has with Johnny, Kenny, and Evan, the JEK Alliance plus Wes decide to do a rerun of the past, with Evan once again planning to call out CT in elimination, believing he is the only strong enough guy that can take him out, despite the past proving otherwise. Like literally on the duel, this exact scenario happened, and Evan ended up losing, going home and blaming Wes for his own actions. As much as I would have loved seeing Evan lose to CT again, the plan is unfortunately dead in the water, literally, when Kenny somehow manages to DQ their team for the third time in 3 episodes, making Wes and Kenny the worst performing team, automatically heading into their second elimination of the season.
I feel like I lost my mojo, bro.
Wes goes into this elimination extremely confident, so much so that some might even see his confessionals prior to the elimination as cocky.
Hard for me not to have an ego, because I just keep beating people at stuff, in real life and in these games. Because like I said, I feel like I'm a superior being.
To be fair though, he does back up his word with a really good performance, essentially single-handedly winning the elimination for both himself and Kenny against their opponents Brandon and Ty.
Wes is carrying me through this game at this point.
This second elimination win naturally only functions to grow Wes's confidence even more, with him now thinking that he is basically unbeatable. Episode 6 finally brings some good luck their way, with Kenny finally finding his mojo as he and Wes sleep into each other's arms, bringing home their first win after being disqualified from the last few daily challenges. This one really brings their partnership to a better place and allows it to grow even more. And I can't help it, but at this point I'm actually rooting for them to take home the final prize. And I think that they have a strong chance of doing just that. Things are truly going great for Wes this season on all fronts. He even manages to strike a flirtatious relationship with a broken-hearted Mandy after things with her and Sadie don't work out. Moreover, the JEK Alliance plus Wes finally managed to execute their master plan by pitting Evan against CT, and of course Evan loses again to CT, sending the E part of the JEK Alliance home.
CT, still in the game. Good job, boys.
After putting up some really great work, mostly on Wes's part, Kenny and Wes are nearly in the final, with them having to survive one last daily challenge for Wes to be able to run his third final of his career. Now sadly, these last few episodes really show Wes in a bad light. Despite him seemingly having turned down his massive douchebag energy in his last appearance on the challenge, he is quick to put himself and Cara Maria in a position that clearly paints him as a villain and honestly a bit of a bully. After a massive house party where the entire cast gets extremely drunk, Wes decides to take the partying too far, with him pouring an entire 2.5 liters of Pepsi over Cara Maria and her white dress, for no obvious reason.
She's just annoying, she's fake, she's immature. So I come up behind her and I pour a 2.5 liter bottle of cola all over her head and her white dress.
This is followed by both him and Paula laughing at the distressed Cara, who understandably doesn't see the humor in this situation. Honestly, it's such a bully move, and he does himself no favors by running after Cara to tell her that no one likes her in the house. And I get the feeling that he was about to throw even more nasty comments at her, if it wasn't for Laurel biting his head off and kicking him out of the room.
No one likes you. No one.
What? Do you have anything else besides no one likes you?
Do
you have anything else besides no one likes you? Get the out, Firecrotch. Get the out before I kick your ass. Get the out.
I'm not the biggest fan of Cara Maria, but her crying in this moment always really gets me. At the last daily challenge prior to the final, things get complicated for Wes and Kenny. For starters, CT and Adam lose the daily, meaning they are automatically going into the last elimination of the season, which is good news for Wes, who has been trying to get CT out since episode 1. The problem lies with which team is going to face off against them. Since Mike and Leroy win the daily, this leaves only 2 teams left that are eligible to face off against CT and his partner, either Wes and Kenny or their allies Johnny and Tyler. The host DJ leaves no time for anyone to politic, with him asking the girls to vote immediately on the spot. Wes tries to influence the vote still by making a few comments, and ultimately Johnny and Tyler get nominated, leaving Johnny feeling annoyed with Wes for what he sees as Wes interfering with the voting process.
After everything, we've been on the same page this entire game, and then when the rubber meets the road, to go around and try and do that.
Not only are Wes and Kenny officially in the final, but they also get rid of CT and Adam after Johnny and his partner win the elimination. CT exiting the game brings them that much closer to winning this whole entire thing, as he was a huge threat to everyone's game. Wes continues to trash talk Cara Maria up until the last possible moment, which is so annoying since he has so much more to focus on at this point.
Are you trying to have a constructive conversation, or do you want me to make you cry? Everyone says extremely harsh things behind your back. Everyone in this house, I think that you are extremely immature. You're not deep enough for me.
Karma does seem to catch up with Wes during the final, with him and Kenny starting out the first portion swimming and kayaking across a river, and they are quickly falling behind Tyler and Johnny. They momentarily overtake them, but their lead is not that big, and at the next stage, where they are required to memorize multiple items and set up a tent, they really struggle. Exhaustion catches up to them, as well as the fact that neither of them know how to actually set up a tent. Wes at this point is especially struggling, with him finding it hard to keep up with his partner Kenny.
You alright? The are you throwing up for?
Wes starts to feel even more unwell when they head into the next portion of the final, which just happens to be the eating portion. Kenny tries to get Wes to eat, but Wes is simply unable to, and it's clear that Wes at this point is really fighting to stay on his feet. Because of all of these factors, Wes and Kenny lose their lead on Johnny and Tyler, as they overtake them when Wes basically collapses on the ground due to his leg muscles cramping, at which point the extremely frustrated Kenny offers to carry Wes up the mountain, and Wes actually agrees, resulting in one of my favorite scenes on the entire show. And to be clear here, I'm not enjoying Wes's pain, but rather the visual of Kenny actually carrying Wes's huge body up a hill, while Johnny Bananas provides commentary in the background. After completing the grueling climb of the huge mountain, the teams find out that this is a 2-day final, which is really bad news for Wes, who is feeling increasingly worse. Kenny recognizes this and he takes the first shift of standing over a rock while Wes tries to sleep, but unfortunately Wes isn't able to get any rest because he's just so unwell. Like honestly, he's looking pale and extremely dehydrated. This situation naturally stresses both Wes and Kenny, and they start the next day feeling very frustrated with each other.
Look, you have every horrible partner right now.
I'm not trying to be a horrible partner, but it's like, you have to understand I'm hurt too.
And despite having a 2-minute lead and Kenny actually trying to be positive and encouraging to the struggling Wes, Johnny and Tyler are right at Wes and Kenny's tails. And when it all comes down to finding a key to unlock the end of the season, sadly Johnny and Tyler are able to find theirs first, signaling their win of the final prize money and leaving Wes and Kenny in second place with $25,000 each. Kenny is quick to blame their loss on Wes, calling him a loser. Which I have to say, I find that statement extremely unfair. While Kenny was being dead weight for most of the season looking for his quote-unquote lost mojo, Wes was able to save them from multiple eliminations, and I just don't see them even making it to the final without Wes's constant efforts throughout the season. At the end, I really liked watching Wes this season for the most part. He was in a great place in the game with him being partnered up with Kenny, which finally allowed him to work with the JEK Alliance instead of working against them. He basically had all the numbers on his side, and while he and Kenny had a rough start at the beginning of the season, they eventually managed to pull through and walked away with some money for their efforts. I wouldn't say that their relationship is exactly fixed at this point, especially with how pissed Kenny was at the end, but thankfully Wes wouldn't have to deal with the E and K part of the JEK Alliance anymore, with both Kenny and Evan never appearing on another season of The Challenge after Tanya's lawsuit. Wes's rivalry with Johnny Bananas, however, is still very much alive and kicking and would continue for the upcoming decade. Wes's 6th appearance on the series would be during filming of season 22 known as Battle of the Exes, where he would be partnered up with his ex Mandy, after their brief fling during the previous season.
Mandy's the closest thing that I've had to a girlfriend in the past couple of years.
Wes and Mandy start this season already in trouble, when Johnny and Camilla win the first daily challenge, and with Johnny choosing to send Wes straight into his first elimination of the season. Johnny and Wes are clearly playing on opposite sides with no love lost between them, and to be fair, Wes doesn't do himself or Mandy any favors when he picks a fight with Camilla right before the nominations.
How do you respect the way he's playing the game though? Like, what's wrong with it?
Well, because I've done several challenges and we hadn't gotten just stop.
Luckily, Wes and Mandy go in against a rookie team and are able to beat them, returning back to the game and avoiding going home first. And with their safety secured, at least for now, Wes shifts his focus on getting Mandy back. He seems to really like her and regrets how things ended between them. However, Mandy is clear about not wanting this to be anything other than a professional working relationship, especially since she has a boyfriend back home.
I dropped the ball. Some other guy picked up the ball. I'm going to try and take the ball back.
Wes doesn't have much time to try to win his partner back emotionally, since both of them performed horribly in the second daily challenge, putting them at risk of going right back to the elimination ground, especially with Sarah and Vinny winning, and Sarah being extremely close to Johnny, who has it out for Wes. Their position in the game is made even more complicated when an intoxicated Vinny decides to rip Mandy's top off at the club while she's dancing, completely exposing her, in a move that was extremely inappropriate and understandably left Mandy feeling violated. Vinny ends up going home for his actions, and Wes did try to call out Vinny for his behavior the night before, but Vinny gets defensive and has no remorse for Mandy at all.
I just wanted to know what you would do if someone did that to your girlfriend or your mom.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, good to know.
Shut the
Sarah and Vinny would ultimately send Wes and Mandy into their second and last elimination of the season, and a few hours later, both Vinny and Sarah would exit the game after Vinny gets kicked out for his disgusting behavior. At the elimination, Wes and Mandy would face off against Leroy and Naomi, and it's a pretty tight fight, with the elimination being a grip/wrestling match. Leroy is able to win the first round, with Mandy securing the win on the second, leaving it all to the third and final round, where Wes would ultimately lose to Leroy, ending the season for both himself and Mandy on episode 2, making this the shortest season for Wes yet. Wes's following season would mark an even shorter appearance for him, with him exiting the game on episode 1. Battle of the Seasons, which aired in 2012, would have Wes competing as part of the Austin team, alongside his co-stars from the real world. Team Cancun wins the first daily challenge, giving them all the power for the week. And this is really bad news for Wes, because Team Cancun has CJ in it, the same CJ that Wes blindsided and sent into an elimination during Fresh Meat 2. The same exact elimination that would send CJ home.
People
all know what happened our freshman year. Wes ended up screwing me over.
Naturally, CJ is holding a grudge, and as a result, Team Austin is put up for elimination. Wes does not take being nominated well, with him kinda having a go at everyone in the house.
I'm gonna go into the thing tomorrow, come back. I want you to try and send me home. I want you to try and kick my...
But when it's all said and done, it's him and Lacey going head-to-head against Big Easy and Cara Maria in a physical elimination, and Lacey is not able to take out Cara in the first round, leaving it all to Wes to keep them in the game, and I was honestly scared for him. Big Easy is a huge, physically intimidating guy, and it's clear that Wes doesn't stand a chance against him, and that's exactly what happens with Big E winning based on pure size alone. Wes exits his 7th season of the challenge after a very disappointing and a short stay.
You did so much better than I thought you were going to do, and you're still my sister. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
Season 24, known as Rivals 2, would continue the theme of Wes being partnered up with someone he hates. And with Wes, we all know by now that that's a long list of people. But his partnership with CT this season is responsible for my favorite Wes appearance on the challenge ever.
He's just always running his mouth. The man legitimately scares me to death.
This season is just a joy to watch. From the beginning, it's clear that him and CT are about to dominate the game. Both guys are huge and very physically capable, and they are also extremely smart and politically savvy, making for a dangerous combination that will ultimately give Wes his 4th final. What's even better than watching these two seasoned players play the game is watching their dynamics together, which is absolutely charming and extremely funny. From Wes being scared to death of CT to CT nearly getting kicked out of the game when he gets into a physical fight on the first night, before the game even officially starts. What had me absolutely rolling on the floor laughing was the fact that Leroy was the one calming CT down and literally pulling him off of the other guy, not Wes, who was instead busy agreeing with the guy his partner just fought with about how unreasonable CT is being.
You did a good job. Stand your ground. It depends on which one of his personalities comes out.
I really can't stress just how much I enjoyed watching CT and Wes competing together on this season. I find all of their interactions extremely cute, and I was rooting for them pretty much from episode 1, especially with them having to jump into each other's arms during the first daily challenge, and with the theme of Wes being extremely terrified of CT continuing.
I am scared to death right now. CT looks like he is trying to tackle me, and he's snarling, his lip is moving. I mean, I'm surprised there's not smoke coming out of this guy.
They do well enough to remain safe during the first week, and they take this opportunity to bond further over their shared dislike of Johnny Bananas, with CT provoking Johnny verbally and getting into his second physical fight with Frank, who's Johnny's partner, making this the second fight CT is involved in, and we're still in episode 1 of the season. I'm here for the chaotic energy CT's bringing into Rivals 2. I just hope it doesn't get him kicked out of the game. The following daily challenge, they work really well together, which makes CT feel like they are bonding even more.
I can't even understand most of the words that come out of his mouth. He has no idea what enunciation means.
The communication problem right now. I'd like to communicate my fist to his chest.
Now they don't win the mission, but they at least remain safe for the week, and things overall continue to go really well for their team. Even after Leroy and Johnny redecorate Wes's bed, which he leaves after he feels uncomfortable sharing a room with Leroy and Teresa, who are hooking up. The things Leroy and Johnny draw on his bed are not exactly the nicest, but Wes takes this pretty well, rolling with the jokes instead of allowing them to provoke him, which is definitely progress from the old hot-headed Wes we've seen before.
I've never been called low self-esteem before. That's definitely a first.
The 5th daily challenge finally brings on a win for Wes and CT, and it's ironically not because of their excellent communication or their ability to compete well physically, but rather due to the politics going on in the house, with Johnny and Zach being mad at each other. Everyone literally stands aside, allowing them to just cruise through, but hey, a win is a win.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
Good things happen to good people.
This win is followed by another win on episode 8 with the daily challenge involving swimming, and with both CT and Wes being excellent swimmers, they easily managed to secure their second win of the season, and this time it was actually earned. Their third daily win couldn't have come at a better time, with them winning the last daily challenge, which takes place during the 9th episode. And this one is especially crucial because it's the one right before the final. And with their win, they officially secure their place in the upcoming final, which is actually really impressive if you think about it. Wes and CT this season have had a pretty flawless run. They managed to stay out of every single elimination, which is surprising considering how big of a threat they are, both physically and mentally. Moreover, they had 3 daily challenge wins, which is just as impressive, making this a really good season for Wes, and he's about to bring it home for the second time. Before the final, Wes and CT cannot let the opportunity of having one last fight fly by them, even though they are officially in the final and in theory have more important things to focus on. The fight starts out verbally from across the room when Wes decides to make fun of Johnny for gassing out during the last daily challenge. Naturally, Johnny is upset and reminds Wes about the time Kenny literally had to carry him up a mountain.
You have no reason to say mother. You got carried up half the last challenge by Kenny.
And things quickly escalate as they seem to always do, with both Johnny and Wes hurling insults at each other, which prompts CT to interfere to defend his partner, and people get shoved around a couple of times. And while I don't generally approve of fighting, I can't help but like how CT is defending Wes. I don't know, I really like their friendship here. At the end, this fight was extremely dramatic and unnecessary, since both teams are in the final and there isn't even anything they should be fighting about. But on the other hand, this specific fight was where some truly iconic lines were spoken, and by that of course I mean Wes referring to all of his assets back home. And wait, let me get this straight here. He has a BMW, a Porsche, a monster truck, a house, and 30 effing companies.
Beat on every girl you have. I have a BMW, a Porsche, a monster truck, a house, and 30 companies.
The final begins with a swimming portion, which is obviously a great news for Wes and CT, and they are off to a great start already. And while all teams seem to struggle with their puzzle, Wes and CT completely fly through theirs, allowing them to be in first place early on, which means they survive the purge and are officially competing in the second half of the final against Johnny and Frank. The second portion of the final is basically a huge endurance race, with the teams having to run multiple rounds while completing different obstacles to get certain items they need to win. This part is actually really tiring and involves both teams having to run long distances while thinking on their feet to solve the complicated puzzles they are faced with. And because of that, it's actually a really tight race. But while Johnny and Frank bicker and fight their way through, CT and Wes are able to work really well together, motivating each other.
I'm really proud of Wes right now. Nice work, Wes. Way hang in there, bro. And you know he's exhausted, but he's giving me everything he has.
And I feel like ultimately that's what allows them to get their last idol first, officially finishing in first place and securing Wes's second final win, with him walking away with an impressive $63,000. Again, this is such a good season for Wes. As I mentioned many times already, I really enjoyed him and CT working with each other all the way to the final, especially when looking back at Wes's last rivalry with Kenny and how that ultimately ended. It's nice to see him and CT actually work through their issues and become actual friends, and I feel like their win of this season was completely earned.
It's been a solid 6 years since I've won a challenge. I mean, these things don't come easy, and to have come so full circle with our relationship and to look at him as a true friend means more than the money.
Wes would be back to film his 9th season of the challenge, with him appearing on season 26, known as Battle of the Exes 2, and this time he is partnered up with his quote-unquote ex, Teresa. Now, considering how they had one hookup briefly many years ago, the term ex is being used lightly here. Wes and Teresa have a strong beginning to their season, with them winning the first daily challenge, making them the power couple, and allowing them to nominate a team for elimination. Naturally, Wes sees this as the perfect opportunity to take a shot at Johnny Banana and possibly send him home. But Teresa reminds him that it's too early in the game to be making major moves, and instead they decide to send in one of the rookies.
I want to throw Bananas into elimination because he has thrown me into 7 elimination rounds over the years.
Honestly, I'm here for this ongoing feud that never seems to end, and I especially am loving the idea that at one point, Wes actually sat down and counted how many of his eliminations Johnny Bananas was responsible for across the near decade of their extremely amusing feud.
No, You threw me in the first time in Exes, and then you threw me in Ruins.
We both enjoy having the other one in like this sick puppet show. I get it.
And while Wes does listen to Theresa's advice about not making even more grudges with Johnny, he does continue to politic his way into an alliance with the rookies, which is really a smart move on his behalf, considering that rookies outnumber the vets this season.
I'm using this power that I only have for about 12 more hours to set myself up for 2 to 3 weeks. I want to make sure that I do everything in my power to stay out of the rookies' mouths.
Johnny and Nany win the following daily challenge, which could spell trouble for Wes and his partner Theresa, but thankfully they also agree to keep the peace and instead continue voting in rookie teams for eliminations. Meaning Johnny and Wes get to continue their somehow functional animosity towards each other for a few more episodes. Wes continues to play this season strategically, with him making an under-the-table, extremely secretive deal with Johnny's closest alliance member and friend Sarah and her partner Jordan. This alliance between the two teams really puts Wes in a great position in the game, allowing Wes and Theresa to continue playing the game without being nominated.
Us not having the relationship that we do have.
Episode 5 brings about Wes and Theresa's second daily challenge win after competing in a swimming-based challenge, which really plays to their strength, and they use this power to finally take a shot at Johnny Bananas and his partner Nany.
Let's get straight down to business.
We're throwing in bananas.
Yeah.
To make matters worse for Johnny and really drive the knife in, Wes is voting him in into an elimination against his bestie Leroy, because Leroy and Naya finished the daily in the last place and are automatically nominated. Johnny Bananas and Nany end up losing their elimination, exiting the game, giving Wes probably his happiest day of the season.
Did I celebrate a little too much?
I think we both might have.
Sadly, Johnny and Nany would only be going to exile and will return later on, something which Wes and the other players have yet to figure out. Wes uses his place of power to make yet another deal with Zach and his partner, John A., which is really impressive since Zach is also extremely loyal to Johnny.
I think we have to keep it as quiet as possible.
Completely agreed.
Like Wes is out here taking Johnny's friends away from him one by one, resulting in the season having some of Wes's best strategic work so far. Moreover, he and Theresa make such a well-rounded team, and they don't hate each other half as much as some of the other remaining teams, allowing them to have really good team dynamics. Overall, the season really showcases a well-seasoned Wes who is able to back up his physical performance with some excellent strategic gameplay. Wes and Theresa win their third daily challenge, continuing to prove themselves as the team to beat. But Wes's masterpiece of a move comes during the following episode, when he and Theresa find themselves at risk of being nominated by Leroy and Naya. Wes somehow manages to save himself by offering Leroy a deal that he can't refuse. He starts off with exposing the fact that he and Zach have a final deal, and that they are each other's numbers 1 in the game, and that Leroy should send in Zach into the elimination in order to claim the same deal with Wes.
If he goes home, there's a guaranteed spot where I will be able to save you. No questions asked, no problem. But I come back, I have to save Zach. If we're each other's number ones, we make plans together. And if we're each other's number ones, we don't sit and throw in Jay.
Watching this conversation take place really makes you feel like Wes is brainwashing Leroy here. It's honestly just amazing to watch Wes talk and manipulate his way into Leroy, forgetting that just a few episodes ago, Wes pitted him against his best friend Johnny, who ended up going home as a result.
I am in awe watching this conversation go down. He is a genius when it comes to manipulation.
What's even more beautiful and impressive is that Leroy and Naya don't sell out Wes when confronted by Zach. Instead, they choose to protect him by basically taking the whole blame for the situation. I mean, they really did drink the Kool-Aid here.
Wes said you, or what way he worded things?
Wes didn't say anything to us.
I had your back. I did.
Wes has played a great game this season. He has been dominating physically as well as mentally, and he is so close to running his 5th final. His constant alliances and his ability to change loyalties and adapt while still somehow staying under the radar has put him in an excellent place. But sadly, all good things must come to an end, and for Wes it starts with him picking a fight with Jordan over his choice of words when talking about Theresa. And when Wes tells Theresa about the words Jordan used to describe her, all hell breaks loose. lose, with Teresa crying and Jordan and Wes fighting.
Be nice, Teresa. You don't need to be a bitch.
He said that you were a bigger bitch than he was an ass today.
What?
On Bible, my mom, verbatim.
So if you want to go into a elimination and talk all the that you just talked, let's do it.
This instability is followed by Johnny and Nany returning from exile after beating Zach and Johnny, and this naturally completely flips Wes's game upside down.
I have a red face, Wes. You look like someone just walked over your grave, bro.
Nice to see you guys too.
Leroy, for his part, tries to get Johnny to work with Wes, but Johnny is understandably unable to swallow that deal, and as a result, Leroy switches back to Johnny's side. On top of that, Jordan absolutely hates Wes after the fight they had, and the whole entire house works together to get Wes and Teresa out first on the daily challenge, meaning they automatically are going in for their first elimination of the season, which is really disappointing to see considering how well they did so far. But oh well, they end up facing off against Leroy and Naya in a hall brawl, and they are unable to win, ending Wes's season tragically 2 episodes from the final. Overall, this season really solidifies Wes's political game. He actually might have been too good at manipulation and scheming this time, as he ended up flying too close to the sun, and if he had maintained the lower profile at the end instead of fighting with Jordan, he might have had a chance. But then again, and in all honesty, Wes's game probably ended the second Johnny Bananas walked back into that house. Wes would be in his 30s when he would compete on his 10th season of the challenge, alongside Nany in season 28 known as Rivals 3. Unlike the previous 2 rivalries he had with Kenny and CT, this one is way less spicy, but he and Nany still don't like each other, so I guess that counts for something.
I didn't like Wes then, still don't really like Wes now.
Wes by now has been competing on this show for the better part of a decade, and the only constant thing he has aside from his politics is his feud with Johnny Bananas. So I was actually really disappointed that the producers didn't just partner them up and call it a day.
Downstairs.
Don't downstairs me. There's just one little problem. The banana man is already here.
Wes and Nany do well enough to survive and avoid eliminations during the first few episodes of the season, and Wes even gets someone crushing on him, with Simone admitting that she thinks he's hot, which honestly, I see it. It's actually really cute watching this moment, but Wes does have a girlfriend, so that does make it somewhat awkward to watch.
Do you have a crush on me?
Yes!
Oh, Simone, you crossed the line.
And I'm walking away.
This happens all the time.
This season, Wes is so under the radar and plays such a quiet game that I actually forgot he was even there. His partner Nany, on the other hand, is being anything but quiet, with her constantly fighting with her ex-best friend Camilla. This, however, doesn't affect Wes and Nany's game as they continue to fly through the season, avoiding eliminations. Wes's chickens finally come home to roost during episode 6, with Sarah and Johnny winning the daily challenge, officially ending this uneasy peace Johnny and Wes had going. It's so funny and appropriate that Johnny would take this moment to make a theatrical speech before nominating Wes for his 9th banana-sponsored elimination, if anyone is counting.
Had hopes that history wouldn't repeat itself,
I hate his little speeches.
but this person is still a spineless piece of so my vote is going to be for Wes and Nany.
However, in an unbelievably lucky twist for Wes and Nany, one team, Thomas and Simone, ends up going home due to family issues, and Nany pulls the white skull at the elimination, meaning that the whole thing is cancelled and no one is competing tonight.
Dude, Wes, it's been a while since you won an elimination,
I
huh?
think it's been like 7 or 8 years.
Alright.
And I'm counting this one.
Nany and Wes make it all the way to the halfway point of the season, but after an especially difficult daily that requires the players to stay up all night and solve complicated puzzles with 0 sleep, Wes and Nany find themselves in trouble yet again after Johnny and Sarah win their second daily challenge. Wes has no delusions about what's about to happen here.
I'll tell you what's about to happen. They're gonna make my life live in hell for at least the next 36 hours. At least.
At the elimination, they end up facing off against Kelly Ann and Jamie in a blindfolded soccer match. And while this is a sport that Wes is passionate about, playing it while blindfolded makes it nearly impossible to do. Both teams struggle to find the ball and score, but ultimately Nany and Wes both manage to score, winning the elimination and returning to the game, much to Johnny Banana's extreme disappointment.
All of you except for you. You.
2 hours later.
You guys are on the fence.
It wouldn't be fair for me to ignore just how much of a difference Wes has made in his treatment of his partners. He's obviously in his Zen era, and it really shows with him having a really supportive partnership with Nani that has zero of the anger or condescending traces that were evident in his younger years.
I did not know that Wes played soccer before. What sports did I play, Wes?
Track, 4x1 and 4x2. And long jump.
No, what other sports did I play?
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Volleyball.
Yeah, well, and?
Stop.
This so far relatively quiet season for Wes does still have a lot of tension for both Wes and Nani, especially when Nicole, who's Nani's actual real-life cousin, chooses to cut a deal with Johnny Bananas, which basically throws Nani and Wes under the bus. This really frustrates Wes, and it breaks Nani's heart.
I want her to do what I want her to make it to a final, but I don't want her to be over in the process.
And the effects of this deal really shows the following episode, with Wes and Nani being put first to compete in the daily mission, basically setting them up for failure and allowing everyone else to learn from their mistakes. Wes is only able to collect 2 flags in the challenge, and while that's enough to keep them from being the worst performing team of the day and avoiding getting sent straight into elimination, their safety is temporary, as Johnny and Sarah win the daily challenge and they choose to send them in their second elimination of the season. Thankfully, Wes and Nani are able to work well together under stress, and this allows them to win and return to the game. After winning 2 eliminations, both courtesy of Johnny Bananas, Wes and Nani officially make it to the episode right before the final, and they have one last daily challenge to win. But as the theme of the season continues, they once again find themselves in trouble when Johnny and Sarah complete their mission first, giving them the power to send in Wes and Nani into their third and sadly last elimination right before the final. To make matters worse for Nani specifically, she has to go in against her cousin Nicole. At the end, both Wes and Nani are unable to keep up with Nicole and her partner Dario, and they exit the game once again just right before the final. And once again, solely due to the actions of Johnny Bananas. It's actually really frustrating watching both Wes and Johnny continue to work against each other instead of just teaming up and controlling this entire game. After taking a break from competing for some time, Wes would enter what is, in my opinion, the modern era of the challenge, with him being cast in season 33 known as War of the Worlds 1, which aired in 2019. And this season brings about a completely different Wes. He's now married to his long-term girlfriend, and the couple are even planning on starting a family together, which is a huge part of why Wes chose to return to the show. We all know babies are expensive.
I really want to win so I can create a beautiful ginger baby that comes and performs on challenge season number 92, and he's gonna be one hell of a star.
War of the Worlds 1 revolves around the concept of vets competing against new players, coming in from different reality TV shows, and Wes is once again joined by his least favorite cast member, Johnny Bananas, which naturally means that the two of them will only continue their ongoing feud. Wes returns to the game with a lot of self-assurance and confidence, with this being his 11th season of the show, and this one really ushers in a new era for Wes, where I'll be honest, he's less physically intimidating, but is on the other hand way more politically intense and just a joy to watch, with his interviews often being the highlight for me with his top-notch humor. Wes begins this season with Dee picking him as her partner, and they make a really good team together. Moreover, Wes also continues the theme of reaching out to players before the season begins filming to make secret alliances in hopes of controlling the game. And this time he reaches out to Hunter, and the two of them have each other's back 100%. Meanwhile, as expected, Wes and Johnny continue to be hateful towards each other, but in a kind of funny and charming way. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I find their comments to each other extremely funny. I'm not even the biggest fan of Johnny Bananas, but I honestly love whatever he has going on with Wes. It's like over the many years they have competed against each other, their relationship has evolved into a love-hate kind of situation, rather than the pure animosity they felt when they were younger.
America's favorite ginger, Wes Bergmann.
That was dumb.
During the second daily challenge, Dee proves a strong physical competitor and a really good partner for Wes. While Wes proves that all the politicking he does is actually effective when Zach decides to literally hand him the winning ball, effectively outing the alliance Zach has with Wes publicly. This really puts Zach in a bad place with Johnny, who feels extremely betrayed by his close friend and ally, while Wes takes this opportunity of him and Dee having the power to influence the votes against Johnny Bananas, sending him into elimination, and things couldn't work out any better for him when the extremely pissed off Johnny chooses to go in against Zach. Johnny and his partner lose and exit the game, leaving Wes completely free of his number one enemy in the game.
You bananas. You deserve this. You know it. I hate you. I got you again.
After Johnny's early departure from the season, Wes is not only extremely happy, but he is also really safe. And that becomes clear the following episode when he and Dee manage to escape double elimination thanks to his deal with Hunter and Georgia. They do get tested though during episode 5 when Zach and Zahida find themselves voted into elimination, and their inability to decide on which team to face, with Zahida refusing to go in against her rookie allies, forces Zach to go in against Wes and his partner Dee. This would be the first and last elimination Wes and Dee would compete in, and they would come up on top, allowing them to continue this so far great season for Wes. Wes and Dee follow up their impressive elimination win by winning the following daily mission, putting them in the tribunal and guaranteeing their safety for the week. Wes uses this win to influence the tribunal to take a shot at the British players, who so far are dominating the numbers.
The Brits look and act dumb, but the reality is they're not. And they came in here strong and loyal.
Wes takes a shot at Bear specifically and misses, which really pisses Bear off, and he's officially coming after him the first chance he gets.
I would have killed you at this, you pussy!
I'm absolutely ashamed to admit that Bear is starting to emerge as one of my rivals.
Because of this ongoing feud Wes has with the extremely loud and annoying Bear, it's crucial that Wes wins the next daily to keep both himself and Dee safe from Bear, who has the entire British alliance backing him up. And that's exactly what happens with Wes and Dee winning their second back-to-back daily mission. Meanwhile, Wes takes the time to teach Dee how to swim better and be more comfortable in the water, something which she had struggled with for a long time after having an extremely bad experience as a child. And it's sweet to watch him being comforting and patient with his partner, especially when you consider how far he has come in that department over the years.
Judging by our first swim lesson, I'm going to lie to her and tell her that she's one of the best swimmers in the house and see if it's one of those mind over matter things.
Their shared respect for each other allows them to win their third daily challenge in a row, and I was so happy watching them celebrate their win, especially considering it was a swimming-based challenge and how terrified Dee was of even getting in the water. Sadly, all of this positivity is shadowed by a situation that happens with Devon that doesn't paint Wes in the best light. During an argument with Bear, Devon, who's Bear's partner, chimes in with how she didn't like the things Wes was saying during her and Jenna's elimination round in the previous episodes, with him encouraging Jenna to get more physical with her, and in response Wes throws out a comment about Devon being a bad role model for her daughter, which is so out of left field and completely inappropriate to say.
Wes told somebody to put their foot in my face.
Good job, Jenna. Knee on her face.
I'll make sure it's a knee in your ribs and on your face.
Okay. You look like a real good role model to your
That's a
daughter.
guarantee. I am.
Episode 10 of the season completely changes the dynamic of the game, with this now being an individual competition, and Wes continues to do well enough to survive the first guy elimination. But not only that, but Bear actually ends up getting voted into elimination and he loses. So that's one more of Wes's enemies leaving, which sets him up in an even better position, with him being aligned with Hunter, Ninja, Dee, and Kyle. The only obvious remaining threat to him is his bad relationship with Polly, and in turn Polly's girlfriend Cara Maria, who Wes has his own bad history with.
Things are incredibly up with Polly and I. We
which means things are also up with Kara and I because they're essentially the same person.
Luckily, Wes wins the following daily challenge, making his way into the tribunal and gaining power once again, alongside his closest ally Dee, meaning that they make up 2 of the 3 votes and thus control who gets into elimination this week. Wes comes up with the genius idea of threatening Cara Maria into getting Polly to fall in line. You see, this week is a girls' elimination week, and as mentioned earlier, Wes essentially is controlling the votes, and thus he tells Cara flat out to either get Polly to forget the past and agree to work with him, or Cara's heading straight into elimination this week.
But if you don't, you're going in tomorrow.
And with Cara having no choice but to convince her boyfriend to stop attacking Wes, she does just that and honestly slow claps all around. That's how you neutralize your last remaining enemy. Wes obviously still has the magic to control this whole entire game.
I'm gonna need to go to rehab after this because of how constantly drunk I am off power.
The next episode has Wes randomly partnered up with Devon for the next daily challenge, and Wes doesn't have that much faith in her ability to finish this especially taxing physical challenge.
I also have asthma.
Which really stresses him out, as this is a guy's elimination week. Ironically, him and Devon work really well together, and surprise, surprise, they actually end up winning, meaning that they are both in the tribunal and Wes is safe for the week. Moreover, Wes takes this opportunity to apologize to Devon for the previous argument they had and his part in it, and she really seems to take his apology to heart, which was really sweet to see. What an awesome season for Wes. Not only did he manage to win a total of 6 daily challenges, but he also demonstrated a masterful political game that allowed him to pretty much have nearly the entire cast under his spell, which in turn kept him safe for eliminations even on the weeks where he lost and was vulnerable. Because of this, Wes would compete on his 5th final, and this one is going to be the hardest one yet. This final is generally agreed to be the most brutal final to ever take place on the challenges long history of airing. Not only does it involve a lot, and I mean a lot of running, biking, climbing hills while completing 5 difficult checkpoints, but all of this takes place in the heat of the desert, putting the players at great risk of heat exhaustion and dehydration. The final starts with the players running laps while completing checkpoints, and they are required to do 5 laps in total. Now they are given bicycles to, in theory, help them out, but that really doesn't do much when they are forced to do so much physical effort in the brutal heat of the desert. And the first day has a lot of, if not all of the players struggling. Turbo is cramping out early on his run, while Georgia gets severely dehydrated and is escorted out of the final due to her health being compromised, while Hunter is reaching his limits and Ninja is the next one to drop, literally fainting and having to get checked out medically before being allowed to continue. And Maddie reaches a state of mental and physical exhaustion that she isn't able to get out of, and eventually chooses to remove herself from this hell of a final. At the end of the first day, 1 player is medically disqualified and 1 player quits, which really sheds light on how much of a fight this final is. Wes is able to complete his checkpoints, but he isn't looking so good, and he is at this point in last place, with Turbo and Theo performing better than him. After spending nearly 6 hours running in the desert during the first day of the final, Wes and the other players are surprised by one last tribunal, meaning someone is going home. The result of this last elimination has Hunter exiting the game, and after the players are giving IV bags to hydrate them before moving on to the next stage, the second and final day of the final brings about even more pain for the remaining players, with them having to climb never-ending sand dunes, only to be faced with the eating portion of the final. Thankfully, this time the food is not gross, which is a huge blessing because I really don't see how these people can handle eating cow brains right now. Wes's body is really feeling the exhaustion at this point, with him feeling like he's about to pass out during the eating portion, forcing himself to take breaks before he is able to continue, and this sadly puts him in last place.
I just start spinning and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I don't want to give up, but thought I literally might die.
The players are still not done with this final, with them now having to run while solving a math problem, only to kayak their way into another final stage, which is basically a race between all remaining players. Wes makes it to the finish line in last place, but it's all the players' added overall time that counts in the end, and for Wes that places him in third place, with him earning $50,000 for his efforts, which I personally don't think is enough considering how tough this final was. I really liked how Wes maneuvered this season strategically and was super impressed with his performance during the daily challenges and this almost cruel final, so I was really disappointed to see him end up in third place.
I'm gonna probably take this $50,000 home and take my wife on one hell of a honeymoon.
War of the World 2 would mark Wes's 12th appearance on the challenge, and while he had such an amazing performance on the prequel of the season, this time around his time on the show would be extremely short and uneventful. Despite being part of the American team, which has some of the best players to ever play the game, his reputation of being strategically gifted, or in other words, very good at manipulation and scheming, is what ultimately gets him kicked out of his own team.
I'm very dangerous because I am playing chess.
This season pits the American team against the Brits, and Wes, prior to coming into the show, did what he usually does and reached out to players on both sides of the fence, with him proudly admitting that he slid into the DMs of pretty much everyone except Johnny Bananas.
Coming into this game, I have slid into a few DMs, if you know what I mean. I think it would be easier to ask me who I didn't contact.
Moreover, during episode 1 of the show, Wes specifically approaches Joss and Rogan, who are playing on the opposite team, to form a secret alliance with them, which is in theory a really good plan since each team would be voting for the opposite, and having people who have your back on the enemy's side could save you from elimination. However, things really go bad for Wes when Johnny and Jordan figure out the connection Wes has with the British players Joss and Rogan, exposing him publicly to the whole entire American team.
Why is Wes trying to save Rogan? I think he's a rat.
This of course results into a huge fight within Team America, and Wes is taking a lot of heat, but he does some damage control and actually carries his team to their next win, alongside Jordan, with them both being excellent swimmers. Impressively, Wes does this while feeling unwell, proving that despite the scheming, he's still a strong player for Team USA.
Sick or not, I will carry us to victory.
All of Wes's good work is undone when he ends up hurting Josh's feelings during the following episode. Wes's demise starts with the entire team voting in Josh into the tribunal after Josh agrees to target Team UK's strongest player, which everyone agrees to be Theo. However, after Josh gets the power, he suddenly changes his mind and decides to go after anyone but Theo, which is so frustrating, and what's even more infuriating is watching Josh's reaction to the situation, which he is 1000% to blame for, with him acting like a huge baby, throwing a temper tantrum and walking out of the room.
Wait, I did not say that. I think that there's option.
Oh, now there's option. Who did you think he meant when he said he was going to vote in their best player?
Thea.
Pull the trigger on.
Who, Thea?
Thank you.
But don't think that you're going to control me or try to intimidate me with your logic, because it's not going to work on me.
Like, are you going to do what the team wants to do?
Y'all all feel some type of way about me, so why don't we just be clear with it? Just say it.
After Josh leaves the room crying, everyone basically discuss the situation, make a few jokes at Josh's expense, with Wes specifically making comments like they really don't need Josh and that he is fired. These comments are overheard by Laurel, who is pretending to be asleep, and she goes on to tell Josh everything, and the two of them decide to flip the votes on Wes and vote him in instead of a British player. This move, of course, shocks everyone on both teams, with the Americans essentially fighting each other instead of going after their actual competition, which is the Brits. Almost everyone recognizes how dumb of a move this is and how incredibly childish Josh and Laurel are being, especially Josh, who seems to have zero emotional intelligence here, and is taking things way too personally after he got called out for basically lying to his entire team.
You just threw down one of our best players over some emotional bull.
Wes is nominated by his own team into an elimination against Bear, and he is completely blindsided and unprepared. He ends up losing and exiting the game during the third episode of the season.
He was the better man tonight. I'm in
had.
Wes would join the reunion show by video call, rocking a new look and continuing his hilarious feud with his arch enemy Johnny Bananas. And as usual, it's always a joy watching these two go back and forth with each other.
Who did you come into the game working with?
I attempted for it to be everyone but you
Wes, you're gonna send me a DM?
Thank you. I'm gonna send your mom a DM.
Perfect.
Wes also apologizes for the backlash the internet had for both Laurel and Josh after the episode where they backstabbed Wes aired. And I have a lot of respect for Wes here for doing that. He's a better person than me because I would be still bitter to this day at how things went down. But Wes has the grace to defend them and make a public outreach on their behalf, reminding everyone watching that this is ultimately just a game.
And I'm actually very upset at the internet and the fans for how much they've been bullying Josh and Laurel for both of those things. And I think people are taking it very far. And on behalf of the internet, I would like to apologize for how far they're taking it. It's a game. They got me.
Wes would return the following season to compete on season 35 of the challenge known as Total Madness, and so does Johnny Bananas, who is in almost every challenge season. And because both of them are competing together, naturally everyone expects their rivalry to continue, but this season isn't called Total Madness for no reason, so more on that later.
Everybody just knows if Wes and I are on the same season, it's gonna be a battle royale from day one.
Now Wes is not stupid. He has learned by now that every season he competes in, people expect him to play a strategic, manipulative game. And that's a reputation that is well earned by now, but often ends up with him going home. So he decides to counteract this by playing an under-the-radar, non-threatening game, or in his own words, playing possum.
Playing possum means I'm playing dead. I'm not attacking you, I'm not screwing with you, I'm literally dead, so everyone can just leave me alone.
Hilariously, Wes's plan of flying under the radar lasts all of 2 seconds and ends up in miserable failure when rookie player Asaf decides to throw a vote his way during the first episode and justifying his vote by the fact that Wes gives him snake vibes.
I voted for Wes. I feel like you're sneaking around like a...
Now keep in mind that Asaf has never met nor played with Wes before, so Wes, who is actively trying to be unsnake-like, takes this comment really personally and ends up having a huge, really funny meltdown as a result.
None of you be like this piece of... You're a pussy. I am a possum. I'm not even here. I have a beard. I sit in the back. I'm what I knew. Too much, too little. Nothing's right for you all.
Wes, did I say that? When did I say that?
Nothing, just give me a hug.
Come here, dude. Jesus Christ.
The fact that Wes is comforted by Johnny Bananas of all people after this huge stressful situation finally lets us know that Johnny Bananas and Wes have finally realized that working together might be a better plan than attacking each other season after season after season, a strategy which they have religiously followed for the last decade.
You're all...
This newfound friendship they have is extremely adorable to watch, and I find myself really enjoying their scenes together, largely due to their interactions with each other.
Bananas and I have what we're referring to as the unholy alliance.
Their alliance is really tested and proven during the following episode when Johnny Bananas finds himself as the target of the house and is at risk of going into elimination. However, Wes's loyalty is there for him and Wes decides to save him, voting for rookie player Jay instead.
The possum speaks for Jay.
Just let it happen.
It's kind of creepy. I feel icky as I'm enjoying myself around him.
Despite Wes finally managing to achieve peace with Johnny Bananas, something which I never thought would happen, he does make 2 new enemies, with the first being his one-sided, unserious feud with the extremely delusional Josh, who for some reason thinks he can go head-to-head with Wes, who is by now basically the face of the challenge. Josh's efforts to provoke Wes and get him to take him seriously ends up providing us with some really funny and embarrassing moments for Josh, something which I'm always here for.
Well, you know why you're here, buddy. But see, it's always going to be you versus me.
Now, you want to make this a Wes and Josh thing.
I don't.
I will never come for you. I am not here to get rid of the worst player here.
And while Josh versus Wes brought on some truly joyful moments for me, Wes's second, more serious feud with Jordan had a lot more tense interactions and was way less fun to watch since I really like both of them. Their problems carry on from the previous season they filmed together, and tension rises when they have an argument over the best way to maintain their in-house gym. This argument starts out silly but quickly escalates when Wes drags Tori's and Jordan's personal relationship into it.
What else do you have to say?
You will not talk to me the way you talk to your wife.
And once again, when things get tough for Wes in the game, he is able to seek comfort from his once enemy Johnny Bananas, and this accounts for yet another moment that had me laughing and awing at the screen.
I was having a tough time, and I went to him for advice. Ugh, that's so cringe.
On a competitive level, Wes does really well for himself this season, managing to win his first daily challenge during episode 8, and he even picks Johnny Bananas to be on his side in the tribunal, giving Johnny safety for the week, and allowing him to share in the power of voting, which is a great departure from the old Wes, who would have jumped at the opportunity to throw in Johnny the first chance he got. This move really solidifies their alliance and loyalty to each other, and their connection is made even stronger when they work together to orchestrate Jordan's exit from the game by voting him in against the much bigger rookie player Fessy in an elimination that requires good hand grip, which is of course extra cruel considering Jordan is only able to use one hand to compete. Objectively speaking, this is a really good move for both Wes and Johnny. They had to get Jordan out because Jordan is known to win finals, and on the plus side, Jordan was aiming for Wes, so seeing him leave puts Wes in a safer place in the game. But on a personal level, this elimination always makes me cry, especially when Jordan hurts his shoulder during it, leaving him with zero fighting chance. And his whole interview afterwards is really impactful and touching. I covered all of Jordan's appearances and his struggles while competing on his own dedicated video, so I won't touch on that more here. Wes wins his second daily challenge of the season, which showcases that this season he's once again showing up both strategically and physically, and it really sets him up in a really good position to see his 6th final of his career. However, sadly, a bunch of events occur simultaneously that results into that not happening. First, the introduction of the Red Skull twist this season, which basically means that all players need to compete and win an elimination to be able to get their Red Skull and run the final. This twist encourages Johnny Bananas to volunteer himself for elimination, as he is eager to secure his place in the final. Secondly, Wes, who is feeling the same pressure to get his Red Skull, also nominates himself for elimination, meaning that for the first time throughout their extremely long and complicated rivalry, this is the first time Wes would actually compete against Johnny in a one-on-one elimination.
It just feels right. I'm going down to get a Red Skull.
This elimination kind of broke my heart, watching them work so well together all season and do some true bonding only for them to end up going against each other at the end felt unnecessary, and it kinda was, to be honest. At the end of the day, Wes let the pressure of getting a Red Skull get to him, and at the end, despite him putting his best effort against Johnny, he is unable to win, with Johnny simply being faster than him. Their goodbye to each other was at least sweet and touching to watch, and it really made it clear how far they've come, with them now truly liking each other, and dare I even say they left this season being friends.
I'll say this, dude. There's not one thing I would have changed about the way I could play this game and teaming up with you. I just wish we would have done it sooner, man. Yeah. I love you, buddy.
I keep saying this, but I honestly really enjoy watching Wes's seasons on the challenge, and that's something that doesn't happen a lot with the kind of videos I make. Often there is drama, bullying, and in some cases even assault in my deep dives. But with Wes, after he outgrew the immature personality he showed on the real world in his earlier seasons of the challenge, he transformed into a lovable reality TV personality that is funny and charming and is overall a true joy to watch. And I mean that even more when talking about this season. His and Johnny's newly found friendship was really something special, and while I'm sad to see it end the way it did, I am glad that I actually finally got to see it happen after watching them fight so often and for so long.
We were friends?
Yeah.
Does this mean we're allies?
Yeah.
Does this mean we're more than friends, just slightly less than lovers?
Yeah.
Wes's last official appearance on the Challenge main series would happen in 2020, with him filming season 36 known as Double Agents. And sadly, his last season would be another short season for him that begins not in a so sad way, with him hilariously becoming a meme after he is accidentally hit in the face with a shoe by CT during the first daily challenge. I mean, what a way to start his last season.
I'm glad you guys are all getting a good little chuckle. I'm sure I'm going to be a gift for the next 10 years of my life.
Wes is partnered up with rookie player Natalie, who is a really strong physical competitor, and he starts working on trying to make peace with the large alliance forming with Corey, Fessy, and Nelson, who happen to be some of the biggest guys in the house, and who are publicly trying to vote out any previous winners of the challenge, in order to give themselves the best chance of winning the final prize money. After Fessy and Anissa win the first daily challenge, the guys execute their plan and nominate both Wes and Natalie as well as CT and his partner during the first week. But thankfully, it's revealed that it's a goals week, meaning that both CT and Wes narrowly escape elimination and are alive to fight another day. Wes is keenly aware of the position he is in. In fact, it's an open secret that the champions are in danger, meaning Wes's days are likely numbered if he doesn't act fast.
Wes is... No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just jealous of my swimming skills. You shouldn't have won twice. If you shouldn't have won twice, and then we wouldn't all want to get you out. Oh yeah, get rid of the champion.
Knowing this, and Wes being Wes, he approaches the alliance made up of Fessy, Corey, and Nelson and proceeds to pitch the greatest pitch I've ever witnessed in my life, officially applying for a job in their alliance. And he is open to any position, whether it's the janitor or maybe even the CEO of the company.
I'm just asking for a job. Make me the janitor at the bottom of this thing. Always wanted to have a job. Literally, I've never had a job. Do you want me to be the janitor? Or do you want me to be the guy that comes up with the ideas and then you follow him?
Went from convincing us let him be the janitor to saying, if you want him to be in charge, I will do it.
Randomly, Wes finds himself getting heat from rookie player Joseph for no obvious reason.
I would love just the opportunity to put my feet on that black sand against Mr. Wes.
And I really don't understand what the rookies of each season have against him. First with Asaf calling him a snake, even though Wes does have some snake-like qualities. Then with Josh thinking that Wes is dedicating his time to eliminate him. And now with Joseph wanting to go in against him. And while I'm confused by this, Wes doesn't really take the threat seriously, and instead keeps things lighthearted.
There is a lot of facts that have been spewed here. Let's start with the fact that I am indeed rich.
Wes avoids elimination during the second episode of the season, but during episode 3 is where a legend's journey finally comes to an end. Leroy and Casey nominate Wes and Natalie for elimination after winning the third daily challenge. And since it's a guy's week, that means that Wes is going in against his closest friend in the house, Devon, and this really makes things difficult for him. Watching this episode, you really get the sense that Wes is already feeling defeated going into this elimination. The fact that a lot of people, including people he has competed with for years, are unable to trust him, and him getting sent home early as a result is really getting to him. Add to that the fact that he's competing against his friend Devon, and you end up with Wes really not having it in him to take on the extremely determined Devon, and this really physically taxing elimination.
I think that this is an incredibly paranoid game. People are getting to my friends, and I'm getting turned against, and then to be paired up against my friend takes a lot out of the fun of the ass-kicking part.
At the end, it comes down to Devon wanting it more, winning the elimination and ending Wes's 14th season of the challenge in a really disappointing way. Wes gives his last speech ever on the show, which I have to say, as much as I do love Wes, it does rewrite a lot, if not his entire past. He had no problems selling out his friends and alliance members in the past, and has spent his entire career manipulating the game and the people in it. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, I'm a huge fan of this man. I'm just pointing out the irony of his last speech in the game.
And I didn't have to ever once lie or vote in my friends. Not once. I can be a champion without doing that. You all can. And one day you're going to be old like me, and you're going to want to look back at that win and be proud of yourself and your heart and your decisions on top of the money that you got. Part
3, Conclusion and Final Thoughts. Wes would continue his reality TV career both on the spin-off shows of The Challenge, as well as branching out to other popular shows like The Traitors, and he would overall walk away with an outstanding $500,000 just from his earnings of the Challenge seasons, keeping in mind that he also won the Challenge All-Stars 3, which accounted for his biggest prize in his career. It's so impressive to see Wes join reality TV at the age of 19 years old and go on to make a full successful career out of it. On The Real World, we were introduced to an immature, aggressive Wes that had such a bad start on reality TV, which is a trajectory that most of the players I cover on this channel have. But what's different with Wes is that he didn't get worse as time went on, but rather with each appearance he had on the challenge, he seemed to improve both personality and game-wise. He, like the many people who were watching in real time, grew up and changed from a loud, rude, and immature 19-year-old to a respectful and considerate man that is now a father, a husband, and a successful businessman that runs his own investing company, which is again so impressive, with him taking the money he earned early and at such a young age and investing it back into himself to secure his and his family's future. Wes Bergmann walked away from the challenge becoming one of my favorite players on the show. And that's not just my opinion. Wes is widely beloved by fans of the series and has become somewhat synonymous with the show that launched his career into success. Wes, with his red hair, scattered freckles, his schemy, snaky ways, and his absolutely hilarious personality, is the challenge.
My lifelong goal is to make a checklist of all the things possible in life, and to look back on life and see a lot more check marks than empty boxes. There's more to Wes than what most people think.
Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing and checking out the entire playlist I have dedicated to the challenge and its incredibly messy, complicated players. Thank you again, and I hope you have a blessed day.